Chapter 541. While Mo Qingyun and the others were conversing, Su Shan suddenly let out a blood-curdling scream, and his eyes began to turn hollow. Junior brother Su Shan, hang in there. We're almost at the Mao Fu sect. Zhang Jie and the others' expressions froze when they saw Su Shan's appearance, and they spoke anxiously. Senior brother Zhang Jie, I'm afraid I can't hold on any longer. Su Shan smiled sadly at Zhang Jie's words and said, I know my own situation. Corpse Qi has already seeped into my knowledge sea and is about to corrode my seal. Even if I return to the Mao Fu sect, it'll be too late. No, that won't happen. Junior brother Su Shan, you must hang in there, Li Jing said emotionally. As long as we bring you back to the Mao Fu sect and ask the Six Seal Elders for help, they'll definitely be able to save you. You mustn't give up. Senior sister Li Jing, you don't need to comfort me. I'm already very happy to see that all of you are fine. Su Shan smiled faintly at them, as if he had already given up. Mo Qingyun unconsciously frowned and said to Zhang Jie, Brother Zhang Jie, can you let me take a look at Su Shan's situation? Perhaps I'll have a way to help him. Mo Qingyun had a good impression of Su Shan from their previous exchange of blows. Therefore, he planned to help him. You? Zhang Jie and the others were shocked, and a trace of doubt flashed in their eyes. They found it hard to believe that Mo Qingyun had a way to save Su Shan. After all, they were all too clear about Su Shan's current situation. Corpse Qi had invaded his knowledge sea. Even a six-seal Great Symbol Master might not be able to save him. Mo Qingyun's Yuan Dan Layer 8 cultivation was only equivalent to a 4-seal Great Symbol Master. How could he possibly save Su Shan? However, Mo Qingyun had good intentions, so they couldn't say anything. I've learned some alchemy techniques from Master. Perhaps I can help Su Shan. Mo Qingyun's expression turned serious when he saw the hesitation on Zhang Jie and the others' faces. He said to Zhang Jie, Moreover, with our current speed, even if we return to the Mao Fu sect, we won't be able to save Su Shan in time. Why don't we give it a try? All right. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zhang Jie no longer hesitated. He said to Mo Qingyun, In that case, I'll have a trouble, Mr. Mo, then. Zhang Ling put Su Shan down and let him lie flat on the ground. Mo Qingyun walked to Su Shan's side and placed his hand on Su Shan's arm. He released his soul force to sense Su Shan's condition. The soul force of a 5th seal symbol master. Sensing Mo Qingyun's soul power, Zhang Jie's expression immediately changed. He revealed a shocked expression and said, This brother, Mo, actually cultivates both spirit and martial arts. Moreover, the realm of his soul power has even surpassed the realm of martial arts. This is truly unbelievable. While Zhang Jie and the others were still in shock, Mo Qingyun's soul strength had already entered Su Shan's body. As Mo Qingyun sent his spiritual strength into Su Shan's body, Mo Qingyun learned about Su Shan's situation. He discovered that Su Shan's body was slowly losing its vitality under the constant erosion of the corpse qi. So this corpse qi contains the power of death. It's devouring Su Shan's vitality and depriving him of his lifespan. After a round of investigation, Mo Qingyun had a clear understanding of Su Shan's situation. He thought to himself, if I use the esoteric meaning of birth to replenish the vitality Su Shan's body is losing, will it be able to alleviate the worsening of his condition? With this thought, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated. He immediately released the esoteric meaning of birth and slowly permeated it into Su Shan's body to replenish the vitality Su Shan's body was losing. This is the complete esoteric meaning of life. Feeling the esoteric meaning of Mo Qingyun's body, Zhang Jie and the others were immediately shocked. They looked at Mo Qingyun in shock. They really did not expect Mo Qingyun to have comprehended the esoteric meaning of life. This was an extremely rare esoteric meaning of life. At this moment, while everyone was still in shock, Su Shan's pale face gradually regained some color. In addition, Su Shan's originally rigid body gradually regained some signs of vitality. It began to return to its normal, soft state. Seeing this, Zhang Jie and the others immediately became happy. They said in surprise, "It's working. It's really working." Under Mr. Mo's help, the corpse qi in Su Shan's body was suppressed. A moment later, Mo Qingyun stopped what he was doing. Su Shan's complexion was much better now, and he could barely walk. "Mr. Mo, thank you so much." Seeing that Su Shan was getting better, Zhang Jie was a little excited. He thanked Mo Qingyun and asked nervously, "So Brother Su Shan is now?" "He's not completely healed." Hearing Zhang Jie's nervous words, Mo Qingyun did not hide anything from him. He replied with a heavy tone, "The corpse qi in his body contains the power of death. With my esoteric meaning of life, I can't eliminate it. Thus, I can only temporarily alleviate Su Shan's condition. I can't completely cure him." "Oh." Hearing Mo Qingyun's explanation, Zhang Jie and the others were a little disappointed. However, they quickly smiled and said, "That's good. As long as Brother Su Shan can endure until we reach the Mao Fu sect, I'll ask the Six Seal Great Talisman Master Elders to save him." "Okay." Mo Qingyun nodded. After that, Mo Qingyun and the others quickly returned to the Mao Fu sect and asked the elders to save Su Shan. The Mao Fu sect was not very far from Graveyard Mountain. After a few hours, Mo Qingyun and the others arrived at the Mao Fu sect. On the way, Mo Qingyun heard Zhang Jie and the others describe the Mao Fu sect. He had a certain understanding of the Mao Fu sect strength. It was only equivalent to the strength of Dian province. A Mao Fu sect of this level was not much of a threat to Mo Qingyun. When they arrived at the entrance of the Mao Fu sect, Mo Qingyun and the others did not stop and directly walked into the Mao Fu sect. After a while, Mo Qingyun followed Zhang Jie and the others to their residence in the Mao Fu sect. After entering the small courtyard, Zhang Ling placed Su Shan on the bed and said to him in a deep voice, "Junior brother Su Shan, rest here first. I'll go find an elder to save you." "Thank you, brother Zhang Jie." Su Shan had a grateful expression on his face as he smiled faintly at Zhang Jie and thanked him. "Why are you still thanking me?" Hearing Su Shan's words, Zhang Jie waved his hand at him. Then, he turned to Zhang Wei and said, "Second sister, accompany brother Mo to rest first." "Big brother, how can you say that?" Hearing Zhang Jie's words, Zhang Wei's face immediately turned red. She glared at Zhang Jie and said shyly to Mo Qingyun, "Big brother Mo, I'll bring him to the guest room to rest." After Zhang Wei finished speaking, her face turned red and she quickly walked out of Su Shan's room. Hearing Zhang Wei's words, Zhang Jie was stunned. He realized that he had misspoken. He shook his head and said with a smile, "This girl." Mo Qingyun did not think too much about Zhang Wei and Zhang Jie's words. He followed Zhang Wei out of Su Shan's room. After Zhang Wei and Mo Qingyun left, Zhang Jie said to Li Jing, "Sister Li Jing, I'll have to trouble you to take care of brother Su Shan." "Okay." Li Jing nodded and smiled at Zhang Jie. "I'll take care of brother Su Shan here. You don't have to worry. Quickly go and ask the elders to save brother Su Shan." "Okay." Chapter 542. After a short while, Mo Qingyun arrived before a clean room under Zhang Wei's lead. "Big brother Mo, you can rest here." Outside the room, Zhang Wei smiled sweetly at Mo Qingyun. She pointed to the room next to her and said shyly, "My room is over there. If you have any instructions for me, you can go there and find me." "Okay." Mo Qingyun nodded. He chatted with Zhang Wei for a while, then got up and entered the room. After entering the room, Mo Qingyun began to cultivate to recover the elemental energy and soul power that he had consumed. After an unknown amount of time, a noise outside the room woke Mo Qingyun from his cultivation. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun stopped cultivating, got up, and walked out of the room. "Zhang Jie, you guys have big guts. Su Shan has been corroded by corpse energy and can turn into a corpse at any time. You guys actually dare to bring him into the sect? Or do you plan to rear zombies and learn from the corpse talisman sect's evil ways? It seems like you have bad intentions. Quickly come with me to see the elder and accept your punishment." When Mo Qingyun walked out of the room, he saw a black-faced young man scolding Zhang Jie with an arrogant face. Hearing the young man's words, Zhang Wei's face was filled with anger. She angrily shouted at the young man, "Shi Tao, you despicable villain. Junior brother Su Shan became like this because of you. Junior sister Zhang Wei, you have wronged me." Looking at Zhang Wei in front of him, Shi Tao's face revealed a trace of an evil smile. His gaze swept over Zhang Wei's body, and he said with an evil smile, "I kindly told you that there is undying spring water in the mass burial cliff of Tombstone Mountain. You guys couldn't find it and were besieged by zombies. How can you blame me for this? You're talking nonsense. There is no undying spring water in the mass burial cliff of Tombstone Mountain. There is only a zombie tribe there." Zhang Wei clenched her silver teeth and stared at Shi Tao with her beautiful eyes. She wanted to dig out his heart and lungs. Mo Qingyun walked in front of Zhang Jie and the others. He glanced at Shi Tao and the others indifferently and asked Zhang Jie, "Brother Zhang Jie, what happened?" "Mr. Mo, you're here." Seeing Mo Qingyun's arrival, Zhang Jie revealed a faint smile and responded, "This is what happened. This Shi Tao not only schemed against us and caused us to be surrounded by zombies on Graveyard Mountain, but now he wants to take junior brother Su Shan away and kill him on the sex corpse slaughtering platform." Oh, hearing this, Mo Qingyun's gaze turned cold as he turned to look at Shi Tao. "Kid, who are you?" Shi Tao's expression immediately turned cold when he saw Mo Qingyun looking at him. He glanced at Mo Qingyun before he looked at Zhang Jie and said coldly, "Zhang Jie, you've really turned to the Devil Dao. You actually brought a spy from the Corpse Talisman sect into the Mao Talisman sect." "Nonsense. Big Brother Mo is a cultivator from the human path." Seeing that Shi Tao was slandering Mo Qingyun, Zhang Wei's expression changed, and she immediately defended Mo Qingyun. "The human path?" Shi Tao was stunned, and his expression became even colder. He laughed sinisterly and said, "It seems that I didn't slander you. Zhang Jie, not only did you collude with the Corpse Talisman sect, you even colluded with a spy from the human path. It seems that not only did you betray the Mao Talisman sect, but you also planned to betray the entire immortal path. You really have guts." Hearing Shi Tao's words, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but laugh. There was a hint of mockery in his eyes as he looked at Shi Tao. This guy was only at the peak of the spirit origin realm, but he actually dared to meddle in the affairs of the human path and the immortal path. It had to be said that he was quite good at acting tough. After looking at Shi Tao mockingly, Mo Qingyun narrowed his eyes and looked at him with a faint smile. "Are you done with your nonsense?" "Brat, what did you say?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Shi Tao was slightly stunned. He didn't understand what Mo Qingyun meant. "If you're done with your nonsense, then get the hell out of here." Mo Qingyun ignored Shi Tao's confusion and said impatiently, "If you don't get the hell out of here, then I'll have to make you get the hell out." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Shi Tao was instantly enraged. He raised his head and looked at Mo Qingyun with a provocative gaze. "What's wrong? Brat, don't tell me you want to make a move on me? Don't forget that this is the Mao Talisman." Bang! At that moment, before Shi Tao could finish his words, he felt a terrifying force explode on his chest. Then, everyone saw Shi Tao's body fly out and fall heavily on the ground. He was like a big turtle with his limbs in the air. Seeing this scene, Zhang Jie and the others were dumbfounded. They couldn't believe that this was real. Mo Qingyun really did make a move on Shi Tao. Moreover, he didn't show any signs of negotiation. This was too impulsive. "Mr. Mo, although your cultivation talent is outstanding and your strength is shocking, when it comes to the ways of the world, you're still too." After a short period of shock, Zhang Jie smiled bitterly. He felt helpless about Mo Qingyun's actions. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun's actions were probably because he had been cultivating all this time and didn't go out to interact with others. Therefore, he didn't understand the ways of the world. "Brat, you actually dared to hit me just now." After being hit by Mo Qingyun, Shi Tao's face was full of shock. He couldn't believe that this was real. "Why, do you still have doubts?" Seeing Shi Tao's reaction, Emo Qingyun smiled playfully and said, "If that's the case, then I'll do it again. This time, you'll have to enjoy it carefully." After saying this, Emo Qingyun's figure moved and attacked Shi Tao again. Shi Tao cultivated spiritual energy. Naturally, he couldn't compare to Emo Qingyun, who cultivated spiritual energy. Bang! Then, the crowd saw Shi Tao being sent flying by Emo Qingyun's attack again. After seeing this scene, the crowd was completely speechless. They didn't know how to describe Emo Qingyun. Emo Qingyun actually attacked Shi Tao again and sent him flying. There was no room for negotiation. This Mr. Emo, Zhang Jie, smiled bitterly. He had already been defeated by Emo Qingyun. Emo Qingyun really did what he said. He did things cleanly and without hesitation. Big brother Emo is so mighty. Seeing Emo Qingyun beat up Shi Tao, Zhang Wei immediately covered her mouth and laughed. Her face revealed a sweet smile, like a blooming peony, warm and sweet. "Brat, you just did it to me again." Climbing up from the ground, Shi Tao's face was immediately filled with anger. He was about to scold Emo Qingyun. However, he was worried that Emo Qingyun would attack him again. He immediately shut his mouth and didn't dare to yell at Emo Qingyun again. He had no choice but to keep his mouth shut. If Emo Qingyun were to attack him again and let him experience another beating, his small body wouldn't be able to take it. After thinking about this, Shi Tao's face revealed a look of reverence as he retreated step by step. After a while, when Shi Tao felt that he was safe, he raised his hand and pointed at Emo Qingyun. He shouted, "Brat, just you wait. I'm not done with you today." After saying this, Shi Tao ran away dejectedly. He was afraid that if he was a step slower, Emo Qingyun would attack him. Chapter 543. Zhang Jie and the others were stunned when they saw Shi Tao's actions. Was Shi Tao going to leave just like that? Of course, at the same time as they were shocked, they were more worried. Emo Qingyun had beaten up Shi Tao. Given Shi Tao's personality, he definitely wouldn't let the matter rest. If he brought people to seek revenge, Emo Qingyun would be in trouble. More importantly, Shi Tao had a genius clan brother in the Mao Fu sect. If Shi Tao's genius clan brother, Shi Tong, acted against Emo Qingyun, the consequences would be even worse. Zhang Jie's expression tensed up when he thought of this. He hurriedly said to Emo Qingyun, "Mr. Emo, Shi Tao is a very vengeful person. He will definitely seek revenge against you for beating him up. I think I should take you away from the Mao Fu sect while he's looking for help." Emo Qingyun was slightly moved when he saw Zhang Jie's actions. Zhang Jie was planning to bear the consequences for him. "Brother Zhang Jie, if I leave, won't you all have to bear the consequences for me?" Emo Qingyun said calmly. "Mr. Emo, you saved our lives. It's only right for us to bear the consequences for you." Zhang Jie had a matter-of-fact expression on his face. After a pause, he glanced apologetically at Emo Qingyun and said, "Speaking of which, this matter is also my fault. I only wanted to send junior brother Su Shan back to the sect as soon as possible. I didn't consider this matter thoroughly and hastily brought you into the sect." "Haha, brother Zhang Jie, don't worry. I think Shi Tao's talent is inferior to yours. He probably won't be able to find any powerful helpers." In response to Zhang Jie's worries, Emo Qingyun still had a faint smile on his face as he said some words of comfort to Zhang Jie. Upon hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Zhang Jie bitterly smiled as he shook his head and said, "Young Master Mo, you may not know, but although Shi Tao is mediocre, he has a genius clan brother in the Mao Fu sect who is about to break through from the 5th Seal Symbol Master to the 6th Seal Symbol Master." Oh, Emo Qingyun was surprised. He didn't expect Shi Tao to have such a backing. No wonder he was so arrogant. The strength of a peak 5th Seal Symbol Master is only equivalent to the peak of the Pill Palace. There is no need to worry about it. After estimating the strength of Shi Tao's clan brother, Emo Qingyun no longer took him seriously. If he fused with Tai Nyo and unleashed the berserk blood Qi martial soul, no one would be able to stop him from leaving the Thatch Talisman sect. "So, Mr. Mo, I think you should leave first. After Zhang Jie said that, he didn't want to delay any longer. He planned to send Zhang Jie out of the Mao Fu sect immediately. Seeing Zhang Jie's actions, Mo Qingyun had a feeling that Zhang Jie was wholeheartedly trying to take on the trouble for him. However, now that he knew that Shi Tao had a genius clan brother, Mo Qingyun naturally couldn't leave. Mo Qingyun was very clear in his heart that if he left like this and left this mess to Zhang Jie and the others, Zhang Jie and the others would definitely take revenge. One had to know that Shi Tao was afraid of Mo Qingyun, but he wouldn't be afraid of Zhang Jie and the others. He would definitely be merciless when he attacked. After thinking about this, Mo Qingyun's face sank. He pretended to be unhappy and said, "Brother Zhang Jie, is this how you treat your benefactor? Why are you in such a hurry to send me away?" Hearing this, Zhang Jie was speechless. He didn't know how to reply to Mo Qingyun. He could only look at Mo Qingyun with an apologetic expression. Seeing Zhang Jie's expression, Mo Qingyun shook his head. He couldn't bear to continue acting. He smiled faintly and said, "You don't have to worry about me. My master left me a life-saving trump card. If any cultivator dares to bully me, I can use this life-saving talisman to contact him." Really? Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zhang Jie and the others revealed suspicious expressions. They felt that Mo Qingyun was deliberately comforting them. "Of course it's true. Do you think that I would joke around with my life?" Mo Qingyun's expression was solemn as he spoke in all seriousness. "If that's the case, then I'm relieved." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zhang Jie and the others' expressions relaxed. They were no longer worried about Mo Qingyun in their hearts. "All right, let's go in and take a look at Sushan." Seeing that Zhang Jie and the others were no longer worried, Mo Qingyun beckoned to them and asked, "Brother Zhang Jie, you went to ask the sect elders to treat Sushan. Has the corpse poison in Sushan's body been removed?" "Why want to find Elder Tan earlier? He just happened to be refining a 7-star corpse subduing talisman. It might take a while before he can treat Sushan." When Zhang Jie said this, a strong yearning rose in his eyes. It seemed that he greatly desired the strength of a 6-seal great symbol master. "Oh, I see." Mo Qingyun nodded. After thinking for a while, he said, "Brother Zhang Jie, can you take me to the Mao Fu sect's treasury? I plan to read some books about the 7 great ancient paths." In Mo Qingyun's opinion, if he wanted to quickly familiarize himself with the 7 great ancient paths, he would have to flip through books about them. Of course, Mo Qingyun also wanted to find some information about the undying spring water in the Mao Fu sect's treasury. Zhang Jie revealed a troubled expression. After a moment of silence, he said, "Mr. Mo, it's not that I don't want to help you enter the treasury. In fact, with my status, I can't enter under normal circumstances. If you want to enter the treasury, there is only one way." "What is it?" Mo Qingyun's expression changed as he revealed a nervous expression. The various talisman scrolls of the Mao Fu sect are also stored in the treasury. Therefore, under normal circumstances, outsiders are not allowed to enter. Zhang Jie first explained to Mo Qingyun, then continued, "If you want to enter the treasury, you have to be in the top 10 in the sect's semi-annual small talisman tournament or the annual great talisman tournament. Only then are you qualified to enter the treasury." So that's how it is. After hearing Zhang Jie's explanation, Mo Qingyun immediately revealed a look of understanding. He then asked, "Can I participate in the talisman tournament?" "You?" Zhang Jie was stunned. He widened his eyes at Mo Qingyun and shook his head with a smile. "The talisman tournament is only a test of the Mao Fu sect's disciples' cultivation. As an outsider, Mr. Mo, I'm afraid you can't participate." At that moment, Zhang Jie was once again certain that Mo Qingyun had never gone out to train. That was why he said such naive words. However, he didn't have any intention of making fun of Mo Qingyun. On the contrary, he felt that Mo Qingyun was a straightforward person who didn't care about trifles. "In that case, if I join the Mao Fu sect, won't I be able to participate in the talisman tournament?" Mo Qingyun's eyes lit up. He immediately had a plan in mind. He smiled at Zhang Jie and said, "Brother Zhang Jie, I wonder if the Mao Fu sect is still accepting disciples? Also, what are the requirements to enter the Mao Fu sect? Mr. Mo, you want to join the Mao Fu sect?" Chapter 544. This young Master Mo's way of doing things is really swift and decisive. He's not sloppy at all. Zhang Jie sighed in his heart and shook his head helplessly. However, he still explained the requirements to Mo Qingyun. The Mao Fu sect is only a small sect. We don't have many requirements for recruiting disciples. As long as one's soul strength reaches the low grade, they can enter the Mao Fu sect to cultivate. Zhang Ling paused for a moment before continuing. Young Master Mo, you have the spiritual energy of a fifth seal symbol master, even though you haven't cultivated the Immortal Path's cultivation method. The strength of your spiritual energy is definitely not a problem. If you really want to enter the Mao Fu sect, I can recommend you to Elder Tan later. If Elder Tan is willing to accept you as his disciple, that would be the best outcome. Low grade? This seems to be even lower than recruiting a junior alchemist. Mo Qingyun was stunned for a moment. Then he smiled faintly and thanked Zhang Jie. If that's the case, I'll have to trouble Brother Zhang Jie. As long as he entered the Mao Fu sect, he would be considered to have truly integrated into the 7 great ancient roads. When the time came, he would be able to enter the Mao Fu sect's treasury after participating in the talisman battle and entering the top 10. He would be able to flip through the various scrolls and secret manuals in the Mao Fu sect's treasury to increase his understanding of the 7 great ancient roads. At the same time, he would also be able to find information about the Undying Spring. Big Brother Mo, are you really going to join the Mao Fu sect? At this moment, Zhang Wei's face was still filled with shock as she looked at Mo Qingyun in disbelief. What's wrong? Don't you welcome me? Mo Qingyun faintly smiled as he looked at the mischievous Zhang Wei and teased her. How? How could that be? I can't wait to welcome you. Zhang Wei blushed and revealed a hint of shyness. She said slyly, I was just thinking that if Big Brother Mo joins the Mao Fu sect, wouldn't you become my junior brother Mo? As Zhang Wei's words fell, she blinked her 2 lively eyes and looked innocently at Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun was speechless when he heard Zhang Wei's words. He didn't know how to respond to Zhang Wei. He really hadn't thought about this. Thump, thump, thump. While Mo Qingyun and the others were talking, the sound of hurried footsteps could be heard. Then, Mo Qingyun saw an old man with a red nose who seemed to have a fiery temper walking toward Zhang Jie. Zhang Jie, you little bastard. I refined a 7-star corpse subduing talisman, but you won't even let me have some peace and quiet. Where's Sushan? Elder Tan. Seeing this hot-tempered old man approach, Zhang Ji and the others all showed reverence on their faces and hurriedly bowed to the old man. Yes. Zhang. Hearing Elder Tan ask about Mo Qingyun, Zhang Jie's expression immediately turned solemn, and he introduced Mo Qingyun to him. Elder Tan was stunned. He looked at Mo Qingyun carefully and nodded his head. Brat, did you hear that I shocked the entire Mao Fu sect? That's why you want to be my disciple. Not bad, you have good eyesight. Mo Qingyun was speechless when he heard Elder Tan's shameless words. This old man was only in the Heaven Star Border Stage 3, but he was so arrogant. He was really something. However, Mo Qingyun liked Elder Tan's personality. He was a straightforward person who didn't think too much and was easy to get along with. When Mo Qingyun smiled bitterly, Elder Tan looked at Mo Qingyun again and nodded his head in satisfaction. You're quite handsome. Although you're a little lacking compared to me, you won't bring shame to my name if you become my disciple. Lacking compared to this old man by a little? Mo Qingyun was speechless again. In his heart, he was full of admiration for Elder Tan. Elder Tan was wearing tattered and patched clothes. His hair was messy like a beggar's, and he had a red nose. How could he be considered handsome? Hee hee. Zhang Wei covered her mouth and giggled when she heard Elder Tan's words. She looked cute. "You two lasses, don't make fun of this brat. He's my disciple." Seeing the two's actions, Inspector Lai glared at him and said in all seriousness, "If this kid meets my standards for accepting a disciple, he should improve under this old man's guidance in the future." Everyone was speechless again. "All right, brat. Let's talk about becoming disciples later. I'm very strict when it comes to accepting disciples. They must follow." After Elder Tan listed dozens of rules, he stopped and said to Zhang Jie, "Brat Zhang Jie, bring me to see that brat Sushan." "Yes, Elder Tan." Zhang Ling smiled resentfully and hurriedly led the way. Then, Mo Qingyun and the others followed Elder Tan and walked towards Su Shan's room. After entering Su Shan's room, Elder Tan no longer hesitated. He immediately walked to Su Shan's bedside and began to check Su Shan's wound. This wound hasn't been corroded by corpse qi. Looking at Su Shan's wound, Elder Tan immediately frowned. The expression on his face was even more shocked. He said, "There's a life, profound meaning in Su Shan's body that's preventing his flesh and blood from being turned into a corpse. Strange." Seeing Elder Tan's puzzled expression, Zhang Wei quickly understood the reason and explained, "Elder Tan, it's like this. When junior brother Su Shan was on his way back, the corpse qi had already erupted once. Later, Mr. Mo checked on junior brother Su Shan's condition and used the life profound meaning to suppress the corpse qi in junior brother Su Shan's body. Otherwise, Su Shan's corpse qi would have collapsed long ago." "Oh." Elder Tan was surprised. Then his eyes lit up. He turned to look at Mo Qingyun and said excitedly, "Kid, release your life profound meaning and let this old man have a look." "Okay." Hearing this, Mo Qingyun released his life profound meaning. Instantly, a shocking life force flowed out from his body. Life profound meaning to the perfection realm. "I didn't expect you to comprehend such a profound meaning." Not bad. Sensing the strength of Mo Qingyun's profound meaning, Elder Tan was pleasantly surprised. He looked at Mo Qingyun with satisfaction and kept praising Mo Qingyun. Then, Elder Tan took out a black stone and handed it to Mo Qingyun. He said hurriedly, "Kid, quickly inject your soul energy into this spirit testing stone. Let me see the rank of your soul." Hearing this, Mo Qingyun didn't say anything. He directly released his soul energy and injected it into the spirit testing stone. Instantly, the spirit testing stone emitted a shocking light. It was so dazzling that people couldn't open their eyes. Chapter 545. Perfect? Flawless? Soul strength of the same grade. Hearing Elder Tan's words, the bodies of Zhang Ji and the others trembled. The gazes with which they looked at Mo Qingyun were immediately filled with shock. They truly did not expect that Mo Qingyun's soul strength would be so awesome. Phew! Zhang Jie deeply exhaled as stormy waves rose in his heart. He sighed in his heart. No wonder Brother Mo is able to possess the cultivation of a fifth seal symbol master, even without cultivating the immortal path. His soul strength is actually so heaven-defying. While everyone was in shock, Elder Tan revealed an amiable smile as he softly said to Mo Qingyun, "Good disciple, wait at the side for a while. Once Master saves that brat Su Shan, we will hold the apprenticeship ceremony." Apprenticeship? Mo Qingyun's expression froze. For a moment, he felt that his brain was unable to process the situation. Wasn't this old man very strict in accepting disciples? With this thought, Mo Qingyun revealed a faint smile as he said to Elder Tan, "Elder Tan, isn't this a little too hasty?" Hasty? Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Elder Tan immediately understood what Mo Qingyun was thinking. With a treacherous smile, he said, "Smelly brat, this old man is warning you. I will definitely accept you as my disciple. If you want to back out now, there's no way." Elder Tan, he planned to force Mo Qingyun to be his master? Upon seeing this scene, Zhang Jie and the rest were dumbfounded. They continuously shook their heads, unable to believe that this was real. Was this still their eccentric Elder Tan? At this moment, a wave of bitterness rose in the hearts of Zhang Jie and the rest. Comparisons were truly infuriating. Why was there such a huge gap between them and Mo Qingyun in Elder Tan's eyes? While their faces were filled with shock, Elder Tan no longer hesitated and began to treat Su Shan. Sky Snow glutinous rice. Elder Tan took out a porcelain jar, grabbed a handful of glutinous rice from within, and pressed it against Su Shan's wound. Chi. Then, a cloud of black smoke rose from Su Shan's wound. It was the corpse energy that had invaded the wound. After drawing out the corpse chi from the wound, Elder Tan's hands did not stop moving. He took out another jade cup and poured some purplish-black blood into it. 7 Orifices Extermination Talisman. Elder Tan took out a green talisman, held it between 2 fingers, and ignited it. Then, he inserted it into the purplish-black blood. Following that, Elder Tan pinched Su Shan's mouth and poured the purplish-black blood with rune ash into Su Shan's mouth. Big Dipper Sky Palace, 7-star corpse, gather. Elder Tan's hands continuously formed hand seals. First, he pointed at Su Shan's head. Then, he pointed at Su Shan's abdomen. Then, strange runes appeared outside Su Shan's body, emitting a shocking soul power. Seeing this, Elder Tan slowly moved his right hand from Su Shan's abdomen to his neck. Under Elder Tan's push, a small bump appeared on Su Shan's abdomen and slowly moved towards his throat. Chi. Not long after, Su Shan's mouth opened involuntarily. A cloud of black smoke rose from it, emitting a foul smell. Then, everyone saw that Su Shan's complexion was much better. It seemed that the corpse chi in his body had been removed. So soul power could be used like this. It's really ingenious. Seeing Elder Tan's move just now, Mo Qingyun was shocked. His heart could not calm down for a long time. At this moment, he had a strong interest in the cultivation methods of the path of immortality. It seemed that using talismans to fight was not a bad method. When he returned to the Tianhun continent in the future, it might become a trump card for him. All right, rest well for the next few days. You'll be fine in a few days. Elder Tan's expression was serious as he spoke to Su Shan. Then, he turned his head to look at Mo Qingyun. Good disciple, come with me. I'll officially accept you as my disciple. Elder Tan smiled flatteringly and spoke softly to Mo Qingyun. Seeing Elder Tan's performance, Zhang Ji and the others who were at the side felt depressed again. The gap between people was really too big. However, before Mo Qingyun could nod in agreement, an angry voice came from outside the room. Sure, Tao had returned. Zhang Jie and that little bastard from before, come out. Sure, Tao shouted into the room. His tone was arrogant as he continued. A brat with the cultivation of Yuan Dan realm dares to behave atrociously in my Mao Fu sect. I'll let you know why the flowers are so red. What's going on? Hearing Sure Tao's words, Elder Tan's expression immediately changed. He looked coldly at Zhang Jie. Elder Tan, don't be angry. It's like this. Seeing Elder Tan's expression, Zhang Jie revealed a trace of reverence and recounted what had happened. What? You want to teach my good disciple a lesson? You're telling me not to be angry? After hearing Zhang Jie's narration, Elder Tan was immediately enraged, following which his body moved and left the room as he furiously said, You mother of Asterisker, you actually dare to bully my disciple. Now, not only will I let you know why the flowers are so red, I will also let you know why the leaves are so green. Bang, bang, bang. As soon as Elder Tan finished speaking, Mo Qingyun and the others heard a series of muffled sounds. A moment later, when they walked out of the room, they saw that Sure Tao and the others had become pig heads. Elder Tan, we didn't provoke you. Why did you beat us up? Receiving a vicious beating from Elder Tan for no reason, Sure Tao and the rest all had aggrieved expressions as they inquired Elder Tan. Why? Elder Tan's expression darkened. He pointed at Mo Qingyun and said, Do you know who he is? Who is he? Seeing Elder Tan's action, Sure Tao and the others looked at each other. They didn't understand what Elder Tan meant. Seeing Sure Tao and the others' expressions, Elder Tan was immediately enraged and gave Shi Tao and the others another round of beating. After beating Shi Tao and the others, Elder Tan was furious. He said to Shi Tao and the others, "You don't even know who he is, and you dare to say that you want to teach him a lesson? You deserve to be beaten." "Ha! Sorry, I just acknowledged Elder Tan as my master." Looking at the innocent faces of Shi Tao and the others, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and said something to clear their doubts. This kid was Elder Tan's disciple? Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Shi Tao and the others were immediately dumbfounded. They couldn't believe it was true. From what he knew, Elder Tan seemed to have taken in a disciple before, right? But now, at this juncture, he took in Mo Qingyun as his disciple. This really made them vomit blood. At this moment, Shi Tao and the others looked at Mo Qingyun with eyes full of envy and jealousy. Mo Qingyun's luck was too good. They were about to take revenge on him right away, and he actually hugged Elder Tan's thigh at this juncture. After thinking this way, Shi Tao and the others felt as disgusted as having eaten feces and flies in their hearts. "All right, you guys can get lost now." Elder Tan glanced at Shi Tao and the others with disgust. He waved his hand at them and said with a curl of his mouth, "A few brats who look like pig heads also dare to bully my good disciple. Look like pig heads." Chapter 546. Good disciple, let's go. Elder Tan was in a much better mood after dealing with Shi Tao and the others. He smiled happily at Mo Qingyun. "All right." Mo Qingyun nodded and turned to look at Zhang Jie and the others. He smiled faintly and said, "Brother Zhang Jie, Miss Zhang Wei, Miss Li Jing, I'll visit you later." After bidding farewell to Zhang Jie and the others, Mo Qingyun did not stay any longer and left with Elder Tan. After a while, Mo Qingyun and Elder Tan arrived at his residence. Elder Tan's residence was located on top of a cliff. Standing on top of this cliff gave one a feeling of looking down on all the other mountains. "Good disciple, serve master some tea." After returning to his residence, Elder Tan could not wait to ask Mo Qingyun to serve him a cup of tea. Mo Qingyun was speechless when he saw Elder Tan's order. He sighed inwardly at Elder Tan's impatience. "Elder Tan, please have some tea." However, Mo Qingyun didn't hesitate and immediately went to bring out a cup of tea and offered it to Elder Tan. "Good disciple, it's time to call me master. From now on, you're Tan Linjan's disciple and the 380th generation's sole disciple of the Tool Talisman sect." Elder Tan took a sip of the tea from Mo Qingyun's hand and pretended to be displeased before he said, "From now on, you're Tan Linjan's disciple and the 380th generation's sole disciple of the Tool Talisman sect." The apprenticeship ceremony is over just like that? Mo Qingyun's expression froze, revealing a look of astonishment. This apprenticeship ceremony was too sloppy. However, after a short moment of shock, Mo Qingyun was even more puzzled. He asked in confusion, "Master, aren't you an elder of the Thatch Talisman sect? Why did you mention the Tool Talisman sect?" "He, the elder of the Thatch Talisman sect, is just my surface identity." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Elder Tan smiled mysteriously and said, "Good disciple, master will tell you a shocking secret. Actually, your master is one of the 10 ancient sects of the Path of Immortality, the 379 generation sect leader of the Artifact Talisman sect. Isn't this identity very awesome? The 379th sect master of the Artifact Seal sect, one of the top 10 ancient sects?" Hearing Elder Tan say this, Mo Qingyun suddenly felt a headache coming on. He instantly felt that Elder Tan was boasting. "Are you very happy?" Seeing that Mo Qingyun was silent, Elder Tan smiled shamelessly and continued, "It's good that you know it. Don't tell anyone in the future. I like to keep a low profile." "Low-key?" Mo Qingyun smiled bitterly. He immediately thought that Elder Tan was bragging, so he didn't think too much about it. After bragging about his identity to Mo Qingyun, Elder Tan revealed a faint smile and asked Mo Qingyun, "Good disciple, master still doesn't know your name?" "Mo Qingyun," Mo Qingyun replied. His expression changed slightly as he asked, "Master, now that I've become your disciple, I wonder if you can let me enter Tibet? You want to enter Tibet?" Elder Tan was slightly startled. Soon after, he revealed a troubled expression and said, "Although I'm an elder of the Mao Fu sect, the rules of allowing you to enter Tibet put me in a difficult position. I can't abuse my authority for personal gain." Hearing Elder Tan's reply, Mo Qingyun understood. However, he didn't care. Originally, he was just casually asking to see if an elder's disciple had any special privileges that could save him a few days of time. If you want to enter Tibet, then you have to obtain a top 10 result in the Talisman Assembly Battle. Elder Tan instructed Mo Qingyun when he saw Mo Qingyun remaining silent, and then he frowned and said, "However, I'm afraid you don't have any hope of participating in the next talisman competition. If you work hard enough, then you still have a very great chance of participating in the talisman competition half a year from now." Half a year later, Mo Qingyun frowned. Half a year was too long. He couldn't wait that long. After thinking like this, Mo Qingyun immediately asked, "Master, may I know when the next minor talisman battle will be held?" 7 days later, Elder Tan replied Mo Qingyun. Then he earnestly explained to Mo Qingyun, "Qingyun, cultivation has to be done step by step. You can't be rushed. Therefore, you don't have to think too much about the next talisman assembly battle. Just properly prepare for the talisman assembly battle half a year later." After earnestly explaining to Mo Qingyun, Elder Tan took out an ancient scroll and said to Mo Qingyun, "This talisman seal truth is the introductory cultivation method of my tool seal sect. Take a look at it first. If there's anything you don't understand, you can ask Master for guidance." Okay. Mo Qingyun received the talisman seal truth from Elder Tan. After exchanging a few words with Elder Tan, he walked into the room that Elder Tan had arranged for him. After entering the room, Mo Qingyun didn't hesitate and directly entered Heixian Hall. After entering Heixian Hall, Mo Qingyun took out the talisman seal truth and began to ponder and study it. After studying it for a while, Mo Qingyun discovered that the first half of the talisman seal truth described how to condense a talisman seal. It was a little similar to condensing a yuan dan. However, the yuan dan was used by a cultivator to store yuan power, while the talisman seal was used to store soul power. With this discovery, Mo Qingyun understood the principle and began to attempt to condense a talisman seal. With his current soul power that was comparable to a 5th seal symbol master, it wasn't too difficult for him to condense a talisman seal and become a 1st seal symbol master. Following this, Mo Qingyun began to attempt to condense a talisman seal according to the instructions of the talisman seal truth. Under Mo Qingyun's control, the soul power in his sea of consciousness gathered little by little and slowly condensed into the shape of a talisman seal. As the talisman seal in his sea of consciousness gradually took shape, its radiance became increasingly powerful, and its aura also became increasingly powerful. Upon seeing this, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and increased the condensing power by a few more points, making the final condensing of the talisman seal. "Condense for me." Following Mo Qingyun's loud shout, the talisman seal suddenly flourished with radiance, and all the talisman seals were absorbed into it, forming a complete talisman seal. Success! Sensing that the talisman seal had finished condensing, Mo Qingyun's face lit up with joy, and he raised his hand to summon it. Subsequently, a talisman seal that emitted a golden glow began to revolve in his hand, emitting a soul power that neared the shedding stage. Soon after, Mo Qingyun withdrew the talisman seal back into his sea of consciousness and continued to condense the talisman seal. He planned to directly condense 5 talisman seals in one go and advance to the talisman master stage. Thus, time slowly flowed by as Mo Qingyun cultivated. 10 days later, the second talisman seal was finally successfully condensed by Mo Qingyun. With this, his talisman master cultivation advanced to the second seal symbol master stage. 20 days later, the third talisman seal was successfully condensed. 1.5 months later, the fourth talisman seal was successfully condensed. 2.5 months later, fifth seal, symbol master, Mo Qingyun, who was in the middle of cultivation, happily opened his eyes. He was very satisfied with his cultivation progress. After 2.5 months of cultivation, he had finally successfully condensed 5 talisman seals and successfully advanced to the 5th seal, symbol master stage. Chapter 547. Mo Qingyun walked out of the room and saw Elder Tan drawing a strange talisman in the courtyard. The runes on the talisman were like a small, sharp sword. At this moment, the runes on the small sword were emitting a sharp aura that was comparable to a Heaven Star border expert. Do it! When Mo Qingyun approached, Elder Tan raised his hand, picked up the brush, and placed a hand seal on the talisman. Immediately, a dazzling light blossomed from the small sword talisman and emitted a frightening aura. Mo Qingyun was certain that with the aura of this small sword talisman, even a mid-level Heavenly Dipper realm expert would have to avoid it. However, the small sword talisman's light flickered for a moment before it dimmed down rapidly and returned to normal. Sigh. After seeing this scene, Elder Tan let out a sigh and revealed a disappointed expression. It seemed that the small sword talisman's refinement had failed. Master! Mo Qingyun walked to Elder Tan's side and greeted him. Qingyun. Seeing Mo Qingyun's arrival, the disappointment on Elder Tan's face disappeared, and he looked expectant. How's your cultivation these few days? Is there anything you don't understand that I can help you with? Not at the moment. Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and replied to Elder Tan. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Elder Tan looked surprised and asked Mo Qingyun tentatively, So, you've successfully condensed a talisman seal? A talisman seal? Mo Qingyun's expression froze as he revealed a bitter smile. Elder Tan was looking down on him too much. Seeing Mo Qingyun's bitter smile, Elder Tan frowned and thought that Mo Qingyun had failed to condense a talisman seal. Then, he explained to Mo Qingyun earnestly, Don't be discouraged if you didn't succeed. When I condensed my first talisman seal, I also spent 10 days. As long as you work hard, you won't be worse than me. Didn't succeed? Don't be discouraged. Hearing Elder Tan's words, Mo Qingyun's expression became strange, and he smiled bitterly. Master, I've successfully condensed a talisman seal. Is that so? When Elder Tan heard that, he immediately revealed a look of pleasant surprise and said impatiently, Quick, summon the talisman seal, and let me take a look. Mo Qingyun nodded and summoned the talisman seal. It floated above his palm. Soon, a talisman seal appeared on Mo Qingyun's palm. Upon seeing this, Elder Tan nodded his head in satisfaction. With a gratified smile, he said, Not bad, not bad. To be able to condense a symbol in 5 days. This talent is a little higher than mine back then. However, don't be arrogant. Continue to work hard. At that moment, without even waiting for Elder Tan to finish speaking, his eyes immediately widened. Because he saw another talisman seal on Mo Qingyun's palm. This talisman seal was more powerful than the previous one. Two seals. Elder Tan was shocked and excited. He said in surprise, The heavens are really protecting the weapon talisman sect. With this disciple, the weapon talisman sect will definitely regain its glory. Before he could finish the word glory, Elder Tan was stunned. He looked at Mo Qingyun's palm in disbelief. 3 seals. To be able to condense 3 seals in 5 days, what kind of talent was this? At this moment, Elder Tan suddenly felt that his brain was not enough. Mo Qingyun's performance had broken his understanding. However, what made Elder Tan even more shocked was that there was another talisman seal on Mo Qingyun's palm. Hiss! For seals. Elder Tan gasped as if he had seen a monster. He stared at Mo Qingyun with wide eyes and was speechless. This was because he saw another talisman seal on Mo Qingyun's palm. It was lined up neatly with the other 4 seals. When he saw the 5 seals, Elder Tan's mouth immediately turned into an O shape. It was as if he had been immobilized. He was rooted to the spot and did not move. What the F***ck? What kind of monster did I take in? After a while, Elder Tan finally regained his senses and said something shocking. However, after a short moment of shock, Elder Tan was pleasantly surprised. He circled around Mo Qingyun as if he wanted to see through Mo Qingyun. Under Elder Tan's gaze, Mo Qingyun could not help but feel his hair stand on end. Elder Tan's gaze rippled. Good disciple. You have indeed disappointed me. After looking at Mo Qingyun carefully a few times, Elder Tan revealed a carefree smile and laughed heartily. It looks like I have guided you well these few days to be able to achieve such results today. You cannot be arrogant and complacent. Do you understand? Guided me well. When Mo Qingyun heard this, he immediately smiled bitterly. He did not know how to respond to Elder Tan. This old man's shameless spirit had already penetrated deep into his bones. After smiling helplessly, Mo Qingyun asked Elder Tan, Master, now that I have condensed the seals, can you teach me the method of creating seals and the combat skills of a seal master? This is naturally not a problem. Elder Tan agreed to Mo Qingyun's request without hesitation. He began to explain to Mo Qingyun the combat skills of a seal master and the method of creating seals. After listening to Elder Tan's explanation, Mo Qingyun's interest in seal masters immediately intensified. Several hours later, Elder Tan stopped his explanation and took out an ancient scroll. He handed it to Mo Qingyun and said, This is our weapon seal sex, Introduction to Weapons and Talismans. There are diagrams on how to create weapons and talismans from 1 to 5 seals. If there is anything you do not understand, you can ask me again. All right. After receiving the Introduction to Weapons and Talismans scroll from Elder Tan's hands, Mo Qingyun and Elder Tan exchanged a few more words before leaving his small courtyard and heading towards the residence of Zhang Jie and the others. He wanted to see how Su Shan's injuries were after a few days of recovery. A moment later, Mo Qingyun arrived at the residence of Zhang Jie and the others. To Mo Qingyun's surprise, Shi Tao and the others, who were previously taught a lesson by him and Elder Tan, actually came again today. Upon seeing Mo Qingyun's arrival, Zhang Jie and the others' expressions immediately tensed up. Their eyes were filled with a hint of worry. On the contrary, when Shi Tao and the others saw Mo Qingyun's arrival, a cold smile appeared on their faces as they said, Kid, you came at the right time. Saves me the trouble of looking for you. Looking for me? Mo Qingyun let out a faint smile. He glanced at Shi Tao and the others and said with a faint smile, What's wrong? Did you not enjoy the beating last time? Do you want to do it again? Humph. Don't think that you can be so arrogant just because you have Elder Tan's support. Shi Tao's face was filled with displeasure. He stared coldly at Mo Qingyun and provoked, If you are really capable, then accept my challenge at the Talisman Assembly. Sure. With regards to Shi Tao's words, Mo Qingyun agreed without hesitation. If that's the case, I'll wait for you. Chapter 548. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had accepted the challenge, Shi Tao didn't linger any longer and immediately left with his group. Judging by his actions, it seemed that he didn't intend to give Mo Qingyun a chance to return. Mr. Mo, you shouldn't have agreed to fight Shi Tao at the Talisman Assembly. Watching Shi Tao walk away, Zhang Ling had a nervous expression on his face as he spoke to Mo Qingyun worriedly. Why do you say that, brother Zhang Jie? Mo Qingyun asked Zhang Jie in return. He didn't understand Zhang Jie's words. Mr. Mo, you don't know the rules of the Talisman Assembly. That's why you don't think it's a big deal. Zhang Jie's expression was nervous as he sighed and said, In the Talisman Assembly, you can only use talismans to battle. Therefore, the martial skills and martial arts manuals that you cultivated on the Mortal's Road cannot be used here. In this way, you will be at a disadvantage when you fight with Shi Tao. In Zhang Jie's opinion, if Mo Qingyun couldn't use his origin power, he definitely wouldn't be Shi Tao's opponent. After all, Mo Qingyun had just joined the Maofu sect. He probably hadn't even condensed a seal yet, let alone cultivated the Talisman's secret manual. How could Mo Qingyun fight Shi Tao if that was the case? In Zhang Jie's eyes, Mo Qingyun was just a person with a five-seal soul cultivation base without any means of attack. To put inappropriately, Mo Qingyun was a tiger without claws and fangs. He could only rely on his five-seal soul cultivation base to intimidate others. Mo Qingyun smiled faintly when he saw the worried expressions on Zhang Jie and the others' faces. He comforted them, "Haha, don't worry. Shirtao can't do anything to me." Zhang Jie and the others' expressions changed when they heard Mo Qingyun's words, but they didn't say anything else. In their view, Mo Qingyun was Elder Tan's disciple after all. Even if Shirtao wanted to take care of Mo Qingyun, he would more or less have some misgivings. Seeing that the expressions of Zhang Jie and the others were still tense, Mo Qingyun was unwilling to continue discussing Shirtao. He changed the topic and asked, "All right, how are Su Shan's injuries?" "I'm much better now. In a few days, I should be able to walk." Hearing Mo Qingyun mention Su Shan, everyone's expressions relaxed. It seemed like Su Shan's recovery was going well. "That's great." Seeing the expressions of Zhang Jie and the others, Mo Qingyun's expression also relaxed. He said to Zhang Jie and the others, "Let's go see him." "All right." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zhang Jie and the others nodded and went with Mo Qingyun to see Su Shan. "Mr. Mo, you're here. Congratulations on becoming Elder Tan's disciple." Seeing Mo Qingyun enter the room, Su Shan's face immediately lit up with joy. He greeted Mo Qingyun. "You could just lie down." Seeing that Su Shan was about to sit up, Mo Qingyun waved his hand at him, indicating that he didn't need to be so polite. After that, Mo Qingyun, Su Shan, and the others chatted for a while before returning to Elder Tan's small courtyard. After all, the talisman battle was in 2 days. Time was very tight. He still hadn't mastered the talisman battle style. If he didn't seize the time to master it, he would really become a tiger without claws and fangs. After returning to Elder Tan's small courtyard, Mo Qingyun didn't delay at all. He immediately entered He Xian Palace and began to cultivate. After entering He Xian Palace, Missouri Qingyun opened the complete guide to talismans and looked at the talisman crafting methods. After opening the complete guide to talismans, Mo Qingyun wasn't in a hurry to succeed. Instead, he started with the first talisman seal. Then, one by one, complicated runes appeared in Mo Qingyun's sight. Looking at the runes in front of him, Mo Qingyun immediately felt a sense of familiarity. He didn't find it difficult at all. The runes used to draw talismans seemed to be similar to the runes used to draw talismans. It's not particularly difficult to understand. Looking at the talisman drawing patterns in the complete guide to talismans, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and thought to himself, "It seems that I should be able to master the talisman crafting method and the talisman battle style very soon." After that, Mo Qingyun kept flipping through the complete guide to talismans and memorized each and every rune. Thump, thump, thump. However, what shocked Mo Qingyun was that as he memorized the talisman crafting method, the Heavenly Soul's demon eye suddenly started to twitch rapidly. The Heavenly Soul's demon eye. Feeling the Heavenly Soul's demon eyes twitching, Mo Qingyun's expression changed, and he was extremely shocked. This was because he realized that there were many talisman crafting methods in the space of his eyes. These talisman crafting methods are the ones that he had just seen and memorized. What shocked Mo Qingyun even more was that these talisman crafting methods in the space of his eyes were actually moving on their own. From the looks of it, it seemed to be guiding Mo Qingyun on how to draw these talisman crafting methods in a faster and more concise manner. After discovering this, Mo Qingyun was instantly shocked, and a sense of ecstasy rose in his heart. He said in surprise, "The Heavenly Soul's demon, I, is analyzing these talisman crafting methods so that I can master them more easily. In this way, the time that I need to master the talisman crafting methods will be greatly reduced." After discovering this, Mo Qingyun's face was filled with ecstasy, and he was extremely excited. He really did not expect the Heavenly Soul's demon, I, to have such an ability. Then, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate any longer and started to try to draw these talisman crafting methods according to the analysis diagram in the space of his eyes. With the analysis of the talisman crafting methods in the space of his eyes, Mo Qingyun was able to learn with twice the result with half the effort. When the pen stopped, the talisman crafting method was completed. With just one attempt, Mo Qingyun successfully drew a first seal talisman. I actually succeeded on the first try. Looking at the first seal talisman in front of him, Mo Qingyun's face was filled with ecstasy. He was very satisfied with the result. Excited, Mo Qingyun did not want to waste any more time and immediately continued to draw the talisman crafting methods. Then, time passed little by little as Mo Qingyun practiced. With the passage of time, one by one, the talisman crafting methods were successfully mastered by Mo Qingyun. There was no concept of time in the mountains. Time always passed very quickly during cultivation. In the blink of an eye, 1 month had passed in the cultivation room, and 2 days had passed in the outside world. At this moment, Mo Qingyun, who was in the cultivation room, had a look of intense surprise on his face. After a month of continuous practice, he had finally mastered a 5th seal talisman, the Thunderbolt Knife Talisman. After successfully mastering a 5th seal talisman, Mo Qingyun did not continue to learn other 5th seal talismans. This was because today was the day of the talisman crafting method battle. There was no time for him to learn other talismans. Unfortunately, the time is still too short. If I had one more day, I would be able to refine the talisman soldier. After calculating the time, Mo Qingyun's face showed some regret. He sighed in his heart and said, "It seems that I can only sharpen my spear at the last minute and refine the talisman soldier while fighting." After thinking this, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate and directly left Hexian Hall. After returning to his own room, Mo Qingyun directly walked out and prepared to participate in the talisman crafting method battle. "Good disciple, where are you going?" Seeing that Mo Qingyun was in a hurry and was preparing to leave the small courtyard, Elder Tan asked curiously. Mo Qingyun said in a deep voice, "To participate in the talisman crafting method battle. You won't be able to achieve good results if you participate in the talisman crafting method battle now. Wait for half a year for the talisman crafting method battle," Elder Tan advised. "Half a year is too long. I have to seize every minute." Chapter 549. This kid, seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Elder Tan's expression froze. He was somewhat surprised by Mo Qingyun's determination and heroism. "Well, half a year is too long. Seize every minute. Since that's the case, this old man will go and see your performance." Elder Tan revealed a faint smile and revealed a look of interest. He also headed towards the battlefield of the talisman assembly. He wanted to see what kind of performance Mo Qingyun would have in this minor talisman battle. However, Elder Tan did not go with Mo Qingyun. Instead, he went to the battlefield of the talisman assembly alone. After a while, Elder Tan arrived at the battlefield of the talisman assembly and walked towards the elders' seats. Elder Tan's sudden arrival immediately attracted the attention of all the elders in the elders' seats. They all looked at him in surprise. "Look, isn't that Elder Tan? Why did he suddenly come to the battlefield of the talisman assembly?" "I'm afraid you guys don't know. Just a few days ago, I heard that Elder Tan accepted a disciple." "What? Elder Tan accepted a disciple? Is this true? Could it be that Elder Tan's disciple is participating in the talisman assembly and he's here to watch his disciple participate?" That should be the case. Looks like there's a good show coming up. Looking at Elder Tan, who was gradually approaching, the surrounding elders began to whisper to each other. "Elder Tan, I heard that you accepted a disciple." When Elder Tan sat down, an elder beside him asked him a question with a faint smile. "Elder Rome, are you envious?" Hearing the person beside him mention Mo Qingyun, Elder Tan revealed a joyful smile and a proud expression surfaced on his face. He was quite proud to have accepted Mo Qingyun as his disciple. This kind of disciple was not easy to meet. "Envious?" Elder Rome was stunned. A trace of mockery flashed across his eyes as he smiled faintly. Elder Tan, I wonder what grade your disciple's soul is? Low grade or mid grade? Elder Rong, do you think I'm like you? Accepting any kind of disciple? Hearing Elder Rong's words, Elder Tan looked at him with disdain. With a proud expression, he said, the strength of my disciple's soul is at the top of the flawless soul. Flawless? Hearing Elder Tan's words, the mocking expression in Elder Rong's eyes immediately became even more intense. Clearly, he did not believe Elder Tan's words and felt that he was bragging. After thinking about it this way, Elder Rong revealed a playful smile and asked Elder Tan, in that case, why don't Elder Tan introduce me to your beloved disciple? He's not here yet. We'll have to wait for a while. Elder Tan responded to Elder Rong without even thinking. In Elder Tan's opinion, with Mo Qingyun's traveling speed, he reckoned that it would take a while for him to arrive. Not here yet. At this moment, another elder beside Elder Tan revealed a mocking smile as he said, Elder Tan, could it be that this disciple of yours is afraid of losing face and doesn't dare to participate in the talisman puppet competition? Hearing the mocking words of the two beside him, Elder Tan's expression became somewhat displeased, and he prepared to scold the two of them. At this moment, just as Elder Tan was about to flip out, he saw Mo Qingyun's figure at the entrance of the talisman puppet competition. The two of you can stop arguing. My disciple is here. When he saw Mo Qingyun arrive, Elder Tan revealed a joyous expression and said to the two beside him, did you see that? That kid at the entrance of the battlefield who has some of my demeanor is my new disciple. Has some of your demeanor? When they heard Elder Tan's shameless words, Elder Rong and Elder Yu were speechless. The gazes they used to look at Mo Qingyun became strange. At this moment, their gazes were undoubtedly thinking that Mo Qingyun had really thrown a pearl into darkness by taking Elder Tan as his master. After briefly sizing up Mo Qingyun, Elder Yu once again revealed a mocking expression as he said, Elder Tan, I heard that this disciple of yours has only been his master for a few days. I wonder if he has condensed the seal yet? Elder Yu, did you say that? When he heard Elder Yu's words, Elder Tan smiled mysteriously and did not give him a direct answer. Seeing that Elder Tan is so confident, I believe that this disciple of yours should have already condensed the seal, right? When he said these words, a trace of envy flashed across Elder Yu's eyes. A disciple who could condense a seal in a few days was astonishingly talented. Such a disciple with outstanding talent was actually encountered by Elder Tan. His luck was really not bad. One seal? When he heard Elder Yu's words, the smile on Elder Tan's face immediately became radiant. Mo Qingyun had only condensed the seal. However, Elder Tan did not point it out. He was waiting to make everyone's jaws drop in shock. When he thought of this, Elder Tan revealed a radiant smile, as if he could already see everyone's shocked and envious expressions. At this moment, while Elder Tan and the others were talking, Mo Qingyun arrived at the center of the battlefield. When Mo Qingyun walked into the center of the battlefield, a cold voice was transmitted into his ears. Kid, today I will make you pay 10 times the price for what you did last time. When he heard these cold words, Mo Qingyun turned his head to look at the source of the voice, only to see Shi Tao coldly and angrily glaring at him. At this moment, Shi Tao and the rest were clearly looking at Mo Qingyun with complacency and mockery in their eyes, as if they were brewing some evil scheme. Don't be so full of yourself, or else you'll be slapped in the face. As he indifferently swept his gaze over Shi Tao and the rest, Mo Qingyun unconcernedly smiled and replied, I will be slapped in the face. Shi Tao sneered again, the complacency on his face becoming even thicker as he said, I'm afraid that you still don't know, in this small talisman assembly, you can only use talismans to fight. You don't have any martial techniques or martial arts manuals to rely on. Let's see how you will fight me next. When the time comes, you won't know. With regards to Shi Tao's thoughts, Mo Qingyun was very clear in his heart. Hence, he did not point it out. In any case, it would not take long. After the next battle, everyone would naturally understand. Everyone be quiet. Disciples who are participating in the small talisman assembly, come here to register your information. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun and Shi Tao were bickering, a cold and deep voice sounded out from the elders' seating area. When they heard this elder's words, the disciples in the battlefield did not dare to hesitate as they hurriedly headed towards the registration counter. When he saw the crowd's actions, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate as he followed the crowd to register his information. "Kid, you better not be eliminated in the first round." Near the registration counter, Shi Tao's expression was gloomy as he said these cold words to Mo Qingyun. With regards to Shi Tao's words, Mo Qingyun directly chose to ignore them as he walked forward to register his information. When he saw that he had been ignored by Mo Qingyun, Shi Tao was furious. Chapter 550. Moments later, all the participating disciples had finished filling in their information. Seeing that all the participating disciples had finished filling in their information, an elder walked out from the elder seating area and picked up the personal information list of the participating disciples. Since the participating disciples have finished filling in their information, the first elimination round will begin. The elder gave a simple explanation to the crowd, then picked up the name list and said, like before, the first elimination round will be divided into 4 battle zones. Next, those whose names I call out will enter Battle Zone 1. After that, you will have an elimination battle with each other. Mo Qingyun, Li Feng, Wang Wei, Han Xia, one by one, the names of the participating disciples were called out by the elder. The disciples whose names were called immediately walked into the number 1 battle zone, showing vigilance against each other. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and followed the crowd into Battle Zone 1. In a short while, there were hundreds of participating disciples in Battle Zone 1. At this moment, Mo Qingyun felt a few malicious gazes in Battle Zone 1. Immediately, Mo Qingyun turned his head and looked at the people who were looking at him with malicious gazes. With a glance, Mo Qingyun discovered that these people were Shi Tao's followers. After this discovery, Mo Qingyun began to scan his surroundings. Very quickly, he saw Shi Tao in Battle Zone 3. Mo Qingyun, don't worry, I won't let anyone eliminate you in the first round. Seeing Mo Qingyun looking at him, Shi Tao revealed a sinister sneer and said, I will leave you for later. When the time comes, I will personally take care of you. If that's the case, then many thanks. Hearing Shi Tao's words, Mo Qingyun revealed a faint smile and thanked Shi Tao. Thank me? Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Shi Tao's expression was stunned. He was somewhat surprised by Mo Qingyun's attitude. Soon after, he revealed a cold smile and said, I hope that when the time comes, you can continue to thank me like this. Mo Qingyun ignored Shi Tao's words and sat down cross-legged on the spot. Mo Qingyun's current thinking was very simple. Since Shi Tao had guaranteed that he would enter the second round, then he could ignore the first round. In that case, he could make use of this time to draw some SEAL soldiers to increase his combat strength. In the elders' seating area, seeing the actions of Shi Tao and the others, Elder Yu revealed a gloating smile and said to Elder Tan with a sneer, Elder Tan, this disciple of yours seems to have encountered some trouble. They're just a few clowns. What's there to be surprised about? Elder Tan replied nonchalantly to Elder Yu's words. He didn't feel the slightest bit of worry for Mo Qingyun. Oh, really? Elder Yu also smiled disapprovingly when he heard this. He was prepared to mock Elder Tan once again. However, before Elder Yu could say anything, he revealed a surprised expression. At this moment, it wasn't only Elder Yu who was surprised. All the elders in the elders' seating area revealed surprised expressions. This was because they saw Mo Qingyun, who was in the number 1 battle zone, take out a large pile of talisman papers. Then he took out talisman ink and talisman brush. Was that disciple planning to draw talismans? Seeing Mo Qingyun's current actions, such a thought unconsciously appeared in everyone's hearts. Aha, this kid is interesting. He actually drew talismans in the talisman competition. This can be considered as a precedent. Does this kid think that this talisman competition is for reading, writing, painting, reciting poetry, or talking about love? Even if it's reading, writing, painting, or reciting poetry, it's because he forgot to bring his pen and paper when he arrived at the examination venue, sharpening one spear at the last minute. Very interesting. I'm looking forward to this kid's performance. In my opinion, he should be thanking the heavens and earth if he can draw even one talisman. For a moment, all the elders smiled faintly as they pointed at Mo, Qingyun, and whispered among themselves. Elder Tan, this disciple of yours is truly unique. He has the demeanor of an elder. Elder Rong revealed a faint smile as he praised Elder Tan. However, even an idiot could hear that his praise was filled with ridicule. When he heard the words of the people around him, Elder Tan's expression became somewhat gloomy as he secretly said, "If I knew that this stinking kid would do this, I wouldn't have come to watch this talisman competition. My old face has been completely lost by him." In the number 1 battle zone, at this moment, while everyone was mocking Mo Qingyun picked up the talisman brush, dipped it in talisman ink, and began to draw talismans. Mo Qingyun's drawing movements were not fast, but he was extremely skilled. Every time he started and stopped, it was just right and had reached perfection. When they saw this scene, the expressions of the elders in the elders' seating area were slightly stunned. A slight change occurred in the gazes they used to look at Mo Qingyun. What a neat talisman drawing. This kind of talisman drawing that pursues the pinnacle is truly extremely rare. This little fellow is not simple. Did you all see that? Ever since he started drawing talismans, he has wholeheartedly devoted himself to it. This child will definitely become someone great in the future. I wonder if he has a master. If not, I am willing to accept him as my disciple. You and I have the same thoughts. With this child's temperament, he will definitely become someone great in the future. At this moment, all the elders started to praise Mo Qingyun. Their hearts were moved by his talent. At this moment, apart from the elders beside him, even Elder Yu and Elder Rong, who were beside Elder Tan, looked at Mo Qingyun with a different gaze. There was both admiration and pity in their gazes. Of course, there was even more envy. They truly did not expect that such an outstanding disciple would actually become Elder Tan's disciple. Following this, Mo Qingyun continuously drew talismans under everyone's supervision. Subsequently, Mo Qingyun continuously drew talismans. Talisman after talisman was successfully drawn by him. As for the elders in the elders' seating area, their expressions became increasingly shocked. They practically did not dare to believe what they were seeing with their own eyes. 40 talismans. Already 40 talismans. Not a single one was a failure. What kind of success rate was this? At this moment, Mo Qingyun's actions were simply a miracle in the eyes of all the elders. Following this, the expressions of all the elders changed drastically. They were unable to maintain their calm. No way. I must accept this disciple. Only I have the qualifications to teach such a disciple. Bah, don't you have any shame when speaking? Your words are more like describing me. All of you stop quarreling. The person who truly has the qualifications to accept him should be me. At this moment, all the elders were no longer calm. They all wanted to rush to accept Mo Qingyun as their disciple. If not for the ongoing talisman meet, they would have probably rushed down. This bunch of idiots. They actually want to snatch my disciple. Hearing the words of the people beside him, Elder Tan felt secretly pleased in his heart. He stood up with a complacent look and laughed loudly. Haha, you bunch of idiots saw that, right? This is me, Tan Linjan's disciple. Are you all very envious? At this moment, Elder Tan had the appearance of a vile person intoxicated with success. That expression was indescribably rippling and wretched. Chapter 551. The genius disciple in their eyes was actually Elder Tan's disciple. This kind of result was really beyond their expectations and made them feel suffocated. Elder Tan, an elder who only studied the improvement of talismans, was actually able to teach such an outstanding disciple. An illusion. It must be an illusion. It must be a mistake. How could such an outstanding disciple become Elder Tan's disciple? Seeing everyone's depressed expressions, the complacent expression on Elder Tan's face immediately became even more intense. He smiled and said, "How can a sparrow know the ambitions of swan? How can this old man's foresight be something that you all can understand?" Thus, the disciples that this old man teaches are not comparable to the disciples that you all teach. At this moment, Elder Tan could be considered to be exalted, and his heart was fiercely satisfied. Seeing Elder Tan's performance, everyone was speechless and secretly sighed in their hearts. A moment of carelessness allowed Elder Tan to show off again. However, although they did not agree with Elder Tan's words, they had to admit that Mo Qingyun was indeed very outstanding. At this moment, all the elders were envious of Elder Tan. In Battle Zone 1, Mo Qingyun successfully drew a few more talisman soldiers in succession. Seeing Mo Qingyun successfully draw talisman soldiers one after another, Shi Tao's followers were a little flustered. "Shi Yang, are we really going to protect this kid and let him draw talismans here?" "Yes. In this way, aren't we helping him accumulate battle strength? This is not a good thing for us." Fan Yong is right. We can't let him continue drawing talismans. Otherwise, Brother Tao will be in trouble. For a moment, Shi Tao's followers each expressed their own thoughts and decided not to protect Mo Qingyun anymore. Hearing their thoughts, Shi Yang frowned and made a difficult decision. He said, "Next, we don't need to protect this kid. Let the others continuously harass him. It's fine as long as he doesn't get eliminated. We can also use the others to consume the number of talismans he draws." Shi Tao's idea is good. Let's do it. After hearing this, Fan Yong immediately nodded in agreement. Immediately, Shi Tao's followers no longer hesitated and walked to the side, giving up on protecting Mo Qingyun. Leaving so soon, seeing Shi Yang and the others leave, Mo Qingyun showed a trace of regret. If only Shi Tao's followers could directly protect him until the end of the first round. Looks like it's impossible for me to draw talismans in peace. Sighing softly in his heart, Mo Qingyun split a portion of his attention to pay attention to the surrounding movements. Even so, he did not stop what he was doing and continued to draw talismans at a steady pace. Seeing that there was no one guarding Mo Qingyun, some of the disciples had their eyes on Mo Qingyun, preparing to eliminate Mo Qingyun. Not long after, a disciple approached Mo Qingyun with a malicious smile on his face. Sensing the approach of this disciple, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold. He planned to make an example out of this disciple. Zamadeo talisman, chop. Immediately, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated. His left hand immediately formed a hand seal and pointed at the talisman in front of him. Immediately, the talisman emitted a bright light and transformed into a large golden blade as it powerfully chopped towards the disciple. At the same time, the movements of his right hand did not stop as he continued to draw talismans. The disciple's cultivation was only at the second seal, symbol master level. When he saw the several-meter-long and resplendent golden Zamadeo talisman forcefully chopping down at him, he was so scared that his legs immediately turned to jelly. However, Mo Qingyun did not show any mercy because of the other party's fear. Plop! Under the Zamadeo talisman, a hideous wound was immediately cut open on the disciple's body, and his body was sent flying backwards. Plop! After the disciple landed on the ground, he spat out a mouthful of blood, and his face turned pale. His eyes were filled with reverence as he looked at Mo Qingyun. As for the other disciples to the side, when they saw the pitiful state of this disciple, they immediately withdrew their ill intentions towards Mo Qingyun. They truly did not expect that Mo Qingyun, this seemingly easygoing disciple, was actually a ruthless character. He did not show any mercy when he made his move. When he saw that everyone had retreated, Mo Qingyun's left hand once again formed a hand seal and pointed at the Zamadeo talisman. Immediately, the light from the Zamadeo talisman receded and it flew back towards Mo Qingyun's body. However, upon closer inspection, one could clearly see that the symbols on the Zamadeo talisman had dimmed significantly. From the looks of it, the Zamadeo talisman's symbol power had been greatly consumed by the previous attack. Zamadeo talisman. This kid can actually draw a second seal army talisman. Upon seeing Mo Qingyun's move, Elder Tan's face was immediately filled with shock. He was somewhat surprised by Mo Qingyun's performance. In a mere 2 days, Mo Qingyun was able to draw a second seal army talisman. This kind of improvement was truly too frightening. At this moment, while Elder Tan's face was filled with shock, the other elders at the side also had expressions of shock. I underestimated this kid. Under his seemingly easygoing appearance, he actually hides a cold heart. This kid has concealed himself very deeply. He is a true fierce tiger. Moreover, he is a fierce tiger that knows how to conceal himself. It seems like this year's talisman assembly will become even more interesting because of this kid. The crowd of elders once again began to whisper among themselves. However, before they could finish speaking, the expressions on their faces turned into shock. This was because they saw that Mo Qingyun had succeeded in drawing the talisman again. He was able to draw the talisman while fighting with others, and he was even able to draw it successfully. This kind of ability was simply too unbelievable. Sect Master, with your attainments and talismans, are you able to draw the talisman while fighting with others and successfully draw the talisman? At this moment, an extremely aged elder asked the sect master of the Mao Talisman sect with a grave expression. Impossible. Drawing the talisman requires one to calm one's heart and restrain one's aura. How can one be distracted like this? The sect master of the Mao Talisman sect, Fong Peng, revealed a trace of a bitter smile when he heard this. He shook his head and admitted that he was unable to do this. Oh! Hearing Fong Peng's words, the aged elder's expression immediately froze. A trace of shock appeared on his face as he said, "It seems like Elder Tan has really picked up a treasure this time. With this kid as his disciple, I'm afraid that no one in the Mao Talisman sect will be able to point fingers at him in the future." What? Even the Supreme Elder is envious? Fong Peng chuckled. Haha, I am indeed somewhat envious. The Supreme Elder of the Mao Talisman sect smiled faintly. He didn't conceal his thoughts and said, "Sect Master, you should pay more attention to this kid in the future. Perhaps you can put him into that category." That category? Fong Peng's expression was immediately shocked. Anyone who was put into that category would be nurtured as the next sect master. Chapter 552. In Battle Zone 1. Due to Mo Qingyun's ruthless attack, the disciples who were originally prepared to attack him all gave up on the idea. In the eyes of these disciples, it was better not to provoke Mo Qingyun if they were not completely confident. After all, even if they eliminated Mo Qingyun alone, it would not change the overall situation of the final advancement. One had to know that there were hundreds of disciples in each battle zone, but the number of people who would advance in the end was only 50. With such a huge ratio, at least 90% of the people would be eliminated. Thus, even if they eliminated Mo Qingyun, it would be useless. Subsequently, Mo Qingyun's surroundings became quiet again. No one disturbed him while he was drawing talismans. Mo Qingyun was happy to see this. He could continue to draw talismans with peace of mind. After seeing this scene, the faces of Shi Yang and the others immediately became somewhat unsightly. This group of trash is actually so cowardly. They were so easily frightened by that kid. Seeing that the surrounding people consciously distanced themselves from Mo Qingyun, Shi Yang's face became gloomy. He did not expect their previous plan to be so easily resolved because of Mo Qingyun's move of killing the chicken to warn the monkey. This result was not what they were willing to see. Shi Yang, what do we do next? Don't tell me that we are going to let this kid continue drawing talismans like this. Fan Yong and the others showed unwillingness on their faces as they asked Shi Yang. He asked for Mo Qingyun's opinion on whether or not they should attack Mo Qingyun. That's right. We really can't let this kid continue drawing talismans. Don't let him accumulate battle strength without limit. Hearing their words, Yang immediately frowned. With a cold expression, he said, "Otherwise, when Brother Tao fights with him, he will be able to smash Brother Tao to death, even if he only relies on talismans to smash Brother Tao." After thinking about this, Yang did not hesitate and immediately said to Fan Yong and the others beside him, "We will immediately attack this kid. However, we only need to continuously disturb him. There is no need to eliminate this kid. Later on, Cousin Tao will personally take care of him." All right. Upon hearing Yang's instructions, Fan Yong and the rest nodded in response. Without any further hesitation, they immediately began to slowly close in on Mo Qingyun, preparing to attack Mo Qingyun. "Brat, you really know how to borrow a chicken to lay eggs. Seeing that we're protecting you, you actually started drawing talismans on the spot." Walking in front of Mo Qingyun, Yang sneered and said some cold words to Mo Qingyun. "Really?" Mo Qingyun smiled playfully. Looking at Yang and the others, there was a hint of mockery in his eyes. He said, "In that case, should I thank you and give you a few seal soldiers to enjoy?" Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Yang's expression changed. He understood that Mo Qingyun was playing with them. However, before they could react, they saw 10 commander seals soar into the sky. They transformed into astonishing weapons and ruthlessly bombarded them. Upon seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Yang and the others suddenly had the urge to curse. Each of them revealed an expression that was even uglier than if their father had died. Mo Qingyun was too cunning. He acted as soon as he said he would. There was no warning at all. They weren't ready yet. More importantly, no one had activated talismans like Mo Qingyun. Activating 10 talismans at once was too much of an animal. How many talismans would he need to use? However, when they thought of Mo Qingyun's 100% success rate in drawing talismans, they became even more depressed. With their success rate in drawing a single talisman, they would be burning incense if they could succeed in 1 out of 10. As a result, the gap between them and Mo Qingyun was immediately revealed. Activating 1 talisman was equivalent to activating 10 talismans for Mo Qingyun. It was no wonder that Mo Qingyun did not feel any heartache. As Mo Qingyun's actions were too sudden, Yang and the others did not even have time to react before they were forcefully bombarded by the talisman soldiers. Bang, bang, bang. After being bombarded by 10 talisman soldiers in succession, Yang and the others were all sent flying by the overbearing talisman energy of the talisman soldiers. Puff! Subsequently, Yang and the others were heavily thrown out of battle zone number 1. They spat out blood, and their faces became pale and ugly. They were defeated by Mo Qingyun just like that. Moreover, they were directly eliminated. After receiving such an outcome, Yang and the others were filled with resentment. They were filled with a strong sense of unwillingness. However, no matter how unresigned they were, they had no other choice. After all, they had already been eliminated. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had activated 10 talismans at the same time and defeated Yang and the others forcefully and sent them out of battle zone number 1. The elders in the elders' seating area were all shocked. They were greatly shocked by Mo Qingyun's performance once again. This kid is really willing to spend his capital to activate 10 talismans at once. This kind of heroic spirit is not something that an ordinary disciple can possess. For an ordinary disciple, it is too difficult to draw a talisman. It is completely incomparable to that kid. Therefore, he naturally cannot use it like that. It is really unbelievable that there is someone who can draw a talisman with a 100% success rate. At this moment, the elders' eyes were filled with intense envy. Mo Qingyun did not care about the crowd's shock and envy. After dealing with Yang and the others, he began to draw talismans again. In his opinion, since Yang and the others have been dealt with, he should continue to draw talismans. After all, there were still several battles to come. He had to accumulate enough talisman soldiers to increase his battle strength. Moreover, he had just used 10 talisman soldiers to deal with Yang and the others. He had to make up for it. Perhaps it was because they saw Mo Qingyun's action of activating 10 talisman soldiers at the same time to forcefully send Shi Yang and the others out of the battle zone. At this moment, in the hearts of the other disciples, the respect they had for Mo Qingyun immediately became stronger. Immediately, the distance between them and Mo Qingyun unconsciously increased by a few degrees. As such, in the following period of time, there were no more insensible disciples who came to disturb Mo Qingyun while he was drawing talismans. Mo Qingyun was very satisfied with such a phenomenon. This allowed him to concentrate on drawing talismans. Without the disturbance of others, Mo Qingyun's speed of drawing talismans increased by a few degrees. In this way, after several hours, the first round of the elimination battle finally ended. As no one came to disturb Mo Qingyun easily advanced to the second round. Seeing that he had advanced to the second round, Mo Qingyun revealed a satisfied smile. He raised his hand and kept the talisman pen, talisman paper, and talisman ink. 500 talisman soldiers should be enough for me to squander. Thinking back to the process of the first round, where he had accumulated a total of 500 talisman soldiers, Mo Qingyun's heart was somewhat excited. Chapter 553. Since the first round of elimination is over, let's take a break for half an hour. The second round will begin soon. Seeing that all the disciples from the 4 battle zones had advanced, the elder in the elder's seating area walked out again and gave instructions to everyone. Hearing the elder's words, the disciples from the 4 battle zones no longer hesitated and began to sit down cross-legged to rest. Seeing that everyone had sat down cross-legged to recover, Mo Qingyun also sat down cross-legged to recover the soul power that he had used to draw the talisman. Mr. Mo, just as Mo Qingyun was about to recover, Su Shan and the others slowly approached him and greeted him with a smile. "You're all here." Seeing Su Shan and the others approaching, Mo Qingyun greeted them and smiled at Su Shan. "Su Shan, have you recovered from your injuries? Thank you for your concern, Mr. Mo. It's not a big deal now." Su Shan smiled honestly and thanked Mo Qingyun. With a grateful expression, he said, "It's all thanks to Mr. Mo that I was able to keep my life this time. If Mr. Mo needs any help in the future, Su Shan will definitely help with my life. I won't complain at all." Seeing Su Shan's attitude, Mo Qingyun's impression of him improved. This was a person who knew how to repay kindness. "Do you really want me to be in danger?" Mo Qingyun pretended to be unhappy with Su Shan's words and teased him with a smile. "No, I didn't mean that. Su Shan was speechless. He didn't know how to express his true thoughts. "Don't think too much. I'm just joking with you." Looking at the incoherent Su Shan, Mo Qingyun patted him on the shoulder and smiled. "From now on, we're all fellow disciples. You don't have to call me Mr. Mo anymore. Just call me Junior Brother Mo. Junior Brother Mo, good luck." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zhang Yun's pretty face turned red. She clenched her fist at Mo Qingyun to show her encouragement. Ugh! When Mo Qingyun saw this, he couldn't help but be speechless for a while. Then, he nodded to Zhang Yun with a faint smile. "All right, let's go to the side and let Junior Apprentice Brother Mo recover his soul power." At this moment, Zhang Jin nodded at Mo Qingyun and gestured for everyone to watch from the side. Seeing Zhang Wei and the others leave, Mo Qingyun stopped thinking about it and started recovering the soul force he had just consumed. Next, everyone waited in silence for the 1-hour break to end. An hour passed in the blink of an eye. Seeing that the break time was over, the elder in the elder's seating area stood up and walked forward. He said in a deep voice, "An hour has passed. Next, we will enter the named battle. You can each choose your own opponent." Naming battle? Mo Qingyun's expression froze when he heard this. He was a little surprised that this method of battle allowed the disciples to choose their own opponents. At this moment, Mo Qingyun finally understood why Shi Tao was so confident to be able to fight him in the minor talisman battle. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun was still in shock, the disciples at the side began to choose their own opponents. "Wang Miao, come up and fight." I will definitely defeat you in this year's minor talisman battle. Senior Apprentice Brother Wang Yu, I have long heard of your great name. Junior Apprentice Brother would like to seek guidance from you. Tong Shi, I have waited for half a year, and this day has finally come. In an instant, the flames of hatred rose in the hearts of each and every disciple. Not long after, the disciples began to pair up and fight with each other. Mo Qingyun, get your ass over here and fight. As Mo Qingyun scanned his surroundings, he saw Shi Tao hovering in midair, looking down at him from a height. From Shi Tao's expression, it was as if he was an unparalleled king. Indifferently glancing at Shi Tao, who was in the air, Mo Qingyun lightly tapped his foot and his body gradually floated up into the air. Finally, he stood face to face with Shi Tao. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, the various elders in the elders' seating area all revealed expressions of shock. Standing in the air, this little guy is actually able to stand in the air. Could it be that his cultivation has already reached the level of a fifth seal symbol master? Didn't he just become Elder Tan's disciple? How is this possible? How come I have never heard of him reaching the level of a fifth seal symbol master at such a young age? At this moment, everyone uttered words of shock as intense doubts rose in their hearts. Soon after, the various elders revealed doubtful expressions and turned their heads to look at Elder Tan. Seeing everyone's expressions, Elder Tan was secretly pleased. He proudly smiled and said, Qingyun isn't a disciple of my Mao Talisman sect. He is a friend of inner court disciple Zhang Jia. A few days ago, he brought an injured disciple, Su Shan, to the Mao Talisman sect. I saw that his talent was pretty good and accepted him as a disciple. Hearing Elder Tan's words, everyone was dumbfounded and looked at Elder Tan with envious gazes. Elder Tan's luck was too good to be able to encounter a disciple with heaven-defying talent. However, Elder Tan's following words made everyone even more depressed. As Qingyun has never cultivated the immortal path, his foundation is somewhat lacking, and he missed the best time to establish his foundation. Elder Tan sighed regretfully before revealing a gratified expression. He continued, Fortunately, he is rather diligent. In addition to my guidance, he was able to condense 5 seals in 5 days and advance to the level of a 5th seal symbol master. This result is only slightly inferior to mine back in the day. Condensing 5 seals in 5 days. Hearing Elder Tan's words, the various elders immediately trembled in fright. What kind of heaven-defying talent was this? At this moment, they finally understood how terrifying Mo Qingyun's talent was. At the same time, their gazes towards Elder Tan became even more envious and even contained a trace of jealousy. How did that old bastard's luck suddenly change, and he accepted such an awesome disciple? As for Elder Tan's bragging, everyone directly ignored it. They simply didn't believe it was true. Grand Elder, looks like your old eyesight is still the best. Fong Peng revealed an expression of admiration and intense shock as he sighed. Condensing 5 seals in 5 days. Even the geniuses of the 10 great ancient sects of the immortal path are probably only at this level of talent. No, even the geniuses of the 10 great ancient sects of the immortal path are unable to reach this level. The Grand Elder sighed. In the entire 10 billion years of history of the immortal path, there are absolutely no more than 3 people who have been able to reach this level. HSS. Fong Peng's expression shook as he unconsciously sucked in a breath of cold air. The shock in his eyes as he looked towards Mo Qingyun immediately became even more intense. At this moment, in the air above the battle zone, Mo Qingyun, today I'll let you experience the true power of me, Shi Tao. Shi Tao revealed a pleased smile as he coldly stared at Mo Qingyun. I'm not those 2nd and 3rd seal symbol masters. Your 2nd and 3rd seal symbol soldiers are useless against me. Watch how I'll torture you next. Is that so? Chapter 554. If that's the case, then let's see who's stronger. After Shi Tao spoke, he no longer hesitated and immediately took out a small jade stone platform. Spiritual pedestal, rise. As soon as Shurtao took out the small jade stone platform, it rapidly grew in size. Finally, it transformed into a tall platform that stood there. Immediately, Shurtao's body moved, and he stepped onto the stone platform as he took out magic tools one after another. When he saw Shurtao's actions, Mo Qingyun revealed a curious expression, but he was not in a hurry to attack Shurtao. He had never seen such a battle method before, and his heart was filled with curiosity for a moment. In contrast to Mo Qingyun's puzzlement, Zhang Jie and the rest immediately revealed worried expressions. Not good. That's the jade profound light spiritual pedestal. If he stands on that platform and casts spells, he can increase the power of his spells by 10%. Zhang Jie's face was full of worry as his expression tensed up. He worriedly said, "If that's the case, the battle strength that Shurtao will display will likely reach the level of a 5th seal middle-tier symbol master. This is too disadvantageous for Junior Mo. Then wouldn't Junior brother Mo be in trouble?" When Zhang Wei and the rest heard this, worried expressions immediately surfaced on their faces as they unconsciously clenched their fists. Originally, Mo Qingyun had only just come into contact with symbol controlling techniques and was not particularly proficient in using symbols in battle. Now that he was fighting against Shurtao, who had the support of a magic treasure, he was really at a disadvantage. In contrast to the worries of Zhang Jie and the rest, the elders in the elders' seating area all revealed expressions of anticipation. Jade profound, light, spiritual pedestal, and 5th seal, symbol master cultivation. Looks like that little guy is in trouble. I'm very curious how he will fight next. I wonder if Elder Tan has prepared a spiritual pedestal for him. This little guy has only just entered Elder Tan's tutelage. It's already pretty good for him to be able to fight his way out of the first round. It's not unjust for him to lose to a 5th seal symbol master. That's right. For him, this year's symbol master competition is merely a formality for him to familiarize himself with. Victory or defeat is not too important. For a moment, the elders all voiced their thoughts. At this moment, while everyone was focused on Mo Qingyun's situation, Shurtao finally made his move. Celestial Soldier Illusion Talisman. 2 green talismans appeared in Shurtao's hand, and he stuck them on the 2 puppets beside him. Then, the 2 puppets shone with golden light and transformed into 2 heavenly soldiers with golden spears in their hands. Half-step Pill Palace. Sensing the strength of the 2 heavenly soldiers, Mo Qingyun's expression changed slightly. He was somewhat surprised by Shurtao's methods. To be able to rely on 2 talismans to allow 2 ordinary puppets to possess the strength of a half-step pill palace. This kind of means was beyond his understanding. However, after a brief moment of shock, Mo Qingyun revealed an indifferent smile as he said, "This symbol master's methods are rather peculiar. Since this is the case, I will play with you first." As soon as he finished speaking, Mo Qingyun took out 4 talisman soldiers and activated them to attack the 2 talisman heavenly soldier generals. Bang, 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 bang. Instantly, sounds of explosions rang out and sparks shot out in all directions. An astonishing talisman power exploded from the 2 heavenly soldiers. However, under the attack of the 4 talisman soldiers, the 2 heavenly soldiers did not show the slightest injury. In fact, there was not even a scar. Even under the attack of 4 talisman soldiers, there is not the slightest injury. I have underestimated these heavenly soldiers. After this discovery, Mo Qingyun's expression changed slightly as a trace of astonishment flashed across his eyes. According to Mo Qingyun's estimation, the strength of the 2nd seal talisman soldier was comparable to the destructive power of a mysterious weapon. However, even so, it did not break through the heavenly soldiers' bodies. From this, it seemed that the strength of the heavenly soldiers' bodies had at least reached the level of a cosmic weapon. Mo Qingyun, I've already said that the power of your 2nd grade talisman soldier is not enough to pose a threat to me. Looking at the scene before him, Shurtao immediately revealed a complacent expression as if he had already won. Is that so? I don't think so. Mo Qingyun's lips curled into a faint smile as he said, Sure Tao, let me give you a piece of advice. It's best not to jump to conclusions until the very end. It's best not to jump to conclusions until the very end. When Mo Qingyun said this, the expressions of the elders in the elders' seating area changed. The anticipation and curiosity in their eyes intensified. This little fellow is very interesting. He still won't give up in such a situation. Could it be that he still has a trump card? I think Elder Tan must have given him a powerful talisman soldier. Otherwise, with the power of his second seal talisman soldier, it is not enough to threaten the heavenly soldiers. In that case, I am even more curious. I hope he can bring me some surprises. At this moment, all the elders were curious as they stared closely at Mo Qingyun. While the crowd was chatting, Mo Qingyun once again clashed with the celestial battle generals. However, with the power of his second seal talisman soldier, Qingyun was still unable to break through the heavenly soldier's defenses. The smug expression on Sure Tao's face immediately deepened when he saw this. He laughed heartily. Mo Qingyun, I advise you to give up. Your second seal and third seal talisman soldiers can't possibly threaten my celestial army generals. The lethality of single talisman soldier is indeed a little too weak for a half-step pill palace heavenly soldiers. With regards to Sure Tao's words, Mo Qingyun agreed in his heart. He frowned and thought to himself, if I can combine the power of these talisman soldiers, I should be able to cause damage to the heavenly soldiers. How can I combine the power of these talisman soldiers? Mo Qingyun's brows were tightly knitted together as he quickly thought of a solution to this problem. I've got it. After pondering for a while, Mo Qingyun's eyes suddenly lit up. He revealed a look of ecstasy and said, if I use these talisman soldiers as the foundation of a killing array, won't I be able to increase the power of these talisman soldiers? If I combine all their power, the talisman formation shouldn't be against the rules, right? With this thought, Mo Qingyun revealed a brilliant smile as he looked at Sure Tao with a mocking gaze. Following this, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated. He took out the talisman soldiers and raised his hand to place a hand seal on them. Following this, Mo Qingyun threw the talisman soldiers into the air one by one. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Sure Tao was stunned at first. Following this, he revealed a mocking expression and said, Mo Qingyun, are you so scared that you can't even stabilize your talisman soldiers? Do you need me to help you pick up the talisman soldiers? Ha! With regards to Sure Tao's mocking words, Mo Qingyun did not reply. Instead, the smile on his face became even wider. Following this, Mo Qingyun continued to place his hand seals on the talisman soldiers one by one. Following this, he threw them into the air. Soldiers Mount Health formation, complete. Chapter 555. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, the elders all frowned, their faces filled with confusion and doubt. They had never seen Mo Qingyun's actions before, so they did not understand Mo Qingyun's intentions. Elder Fei, are you able to tell what that little guy is doing? I can't tell. This little guy's actions can't be seen by ordinary people. That's right. This little guy's actions are always so unexpected. All the elders were curious as they stared at Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun, why aren't you continuing to throw the seal soldiers? Have you run out of seal soldiers? When Sure Tao saw Mo Qingyun stop what he was doing, he immediately revealed a mocking expression. He smiled proudly and said, do you need me to give you some more time to draw more seal soldiers? Seeing Sure Tao's expression, Mo Qingyun gave him a mocking smile and said, Sure Tao, don't get carried away. Be careful that extreme joy turns to sorrow. Extreme joy turns to sorrow? Sure Tao smiled proudly again. He looked at Mo Qingyun with disdain and said, don't worry. Even if extreme joy turns to sorrow, the person who will make me sad will definitely not be you, Mo Qingyun. If that's the case, then watch carefully. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, his figure moved, and he walked into the formation of the talisman soldiers. When Mo Qingyun walked into the Seal Soldier array, the two heavenly soldiers and battle generals followed closely behind him and entered the Seal Soldier array. Soldiers Mount Hell array start. Seeing the two heavenly soldiers and battle generals enter the Seal Soldier array, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate and immediately activated the Seal Soldier array. Then, everyone saw a shining handprint appear in Mo Qingyun's hand, and he struck it into the Talisman Soldier array. When the handprint entered the Seal Soldier formation, a terrifying aura instantly shot into the sky, causing the sky to change color. Soon after, a murderous aura was emitted from the Symbol Soldier array, causing one to feel extremely oppressed and palpitating. At that moment, the shadow of weapons appeared within the Talisman Soldier array formation. They emitted a sharp aura that blasted towards the two celestial soldiers. Bang, bang, bang. Loud bangs were heard from the soldiers' Mount Hell array, and a terrifying Rune Soldier array power erupted from it. After seeing this scene, everyone's expression changed, and a strong sense of reverence rose in their hearts. At this moment, the aura emanating from the soldiers' Mound Hellish formation wasn't the slightest bit inferior to a six-seal Great Talisman Master. At this moment, all of the elders in the elder seating area stood up one by one. Their faces were filled with shock. This is an array formation? That brat actually knew about arrays? He was actually setting up a formation just now? Using the Seal Soldier as the base to set up a Seal Soldier formation, this kid's imagination is far beyond ordinary people. More importantly, his mastery of arrays is not the slightest bit inferior to his mastery of the Talisman Tao. What a genius! This brat is truly a monster. His future is limitless. Why haven't I met a disciple like him before? In an instant, everyone's faces were filled with shock, and a strong sense of emotion rose in their hearts. Rune Soldier array formation. Elder Tan's expression was filled with excitement, and a look of ecstasy appeared on his face. He said excitedly, "I didn't expect this brat to be able to easily accomplish something that has troubled me my entire life. This is truly unbelievable. Our weapon talisman sect finally has a successor." At this moment, Elder Tan's expression was filled with excitement, and a strong sense of anticipation rose in his eyes. It was as if he could see the weapon talisman sect returning to its former glory under the hands of Mo Qingyun. "Sect Master, it seems like we have underestimated this brat's potential. His future isn't something that we can predict." The Supreme Elder's expression was filled with emotion. His deep eyes flickered, and his evaluation of Mo Qingyun rose by a few notches. At this moment, while everyone's faces were filled with shock, the soldiers' Mound Hell array formation regained its calm. However, at this moment, the figures of the heavenly soldiers and generals were no longer in the array. Only a pile of debris was left. From this, it seemed that the two heavenly soldiers and generals had been blasted into pieces by the soldiers' Mound Hell array formation. Shi Tao's expression instantly went grim when he saw this scene, and he revealed an expression of terror as he said in panic, How could this be? How could it possibly break through my quasi-fifth seal talisman by merely relying on a second seal talisman soldier? Nothing is absolute in this world. If you don't know this, it only means that your knowledge is too shallow. In response to Shi Tao's shock, Mo Qingyun replied indifferently. He continued, "Now it seems that I have disappointed you this time. The person who can make you sad is me, Mo Qingyun." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Shi Tao was immediately at a loss for words. He didn't know how to refute Mo Qingyun. He had obtained these two quasi-fifth seal talismans from Secret Realm. They were the reason why he had been so arrogant all this time. He didn't expect that they would be destroyed by Mo Qingyun. This kind of blow was too cruel to him. When he thought of his arrogant appearance just now and compared it to his current down-and-out appearance, he seemed to be in a state of extreme joy. Before Shi Tao could recover from his heartache, he saw that Mo Qingyun was throwing out rune soldiers again. Moreover, Mo Qingyun had thrown out the talisman soldiers around his spiritual altar. Seeing this, Shi Tao's pupils shrank, and a look of horror appeared on his face. Mo Qingyun was setting up the rune soldier array again. Moreover, it was around his spiritual altar. He was going to use the rune soldier array to deal with him. Thinking of the power of the rune soldier array, Shi Tao's heart collapsed in fear. He didn't dare to continue staying on the spiritual altar. He was sure that if he was hit by the rune soldier array, he would definitely die. Thinking of this, Shi Tao prepared to leave the spiritual altar. He didn't dare to stay for another second. You want to leave? It's too late. Seeing that Shi Tao was preparing to escape, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly. He immediately formed a hand seal and hit Shi Tao's spiritual altar. Then, the surroundings of Shi Tao's spiritual altar shone brightly, and a terrifying aura exploded. Mo Qingyun, I admit defeat. Please let me go. Seeing the terrifying weapon radiance exploding around him, Shi Tao immediately panicked and begged Mo Qingyun for mercy. Hearing Shi Tao's words, Mo Qingyun pretended to be dizzy. He raised his hand to rub his forehead and said, Continuously setting up the rune soldier array has consumed too much of my spiritual energy. I'm afraid that I don't have the strength to remove the rune soldier array now. I'm going to recuperate immediately. Good luck to you. After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he no longer paid any attention to Shi Tao and directly landed on the ground. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was walking to the ground, Shi Tao immediately panicked, and his expression couldn't help but twitch. Mo Qingyun, damn you, quickly remove the rune soldier array for me. Mo Qingyun, Lord Mo, I beg you, quickly remove the rune soldier array. I'm scared of you, okay? I'm the ham, my leg, my bird. Chapter 556. Moments later, the formation on the spiritual altar disappeared. When the crowd saw Shi Tao's appearance again, it was already too horrible to look at. At this moment, there was not a single unharmed spot on Shi Tao's body. His entire person was like a prisoner who had been tortured to extort a confession. However, because the formation that Mo Qingyun had set up was not strong, he was still hanging on by a thread. When they saw Shi Tao's miserable state, the surrounding disciples from the various battle zones all revealed terrified expressions. Immediately, a sense of reverence rose in their eyes as they looked towards Mo Qingyun. After crippling Shi Tao, Mo Qingyun walked to one side and waited for the second round of the roll call battle to end. Approximately 15 minutes later, the second round of the roll call battle finally ended. Half of the disciples had been eliminated. When he saw that the second round of the roll call battle had ended, the elder once again walked out and said to the crowd, "Since the second round of the roll call battle has ended, we will rest for an hour like before we begin the third round of the drawing of lots." When the elder's words fell, Mo Qingyun and the rest no longer hesitated. One by one, they sat down and began to recover. An hour passed in the blink of an eye. When he saw that the break was over, the elder walked forward with a box in hand and said to the crowd in a low voice, "The list of disciples who have advanced to the second round of the roll call battle is all in this box. Next, you will draw lots to determine your opponents. In that case, let's begin the drawing of lots." When the elder's words fell, the disciples who had advanced to the next round hurriedly headed towards the box and began to draw lots to choose their opponents. When he saw the crowd's actions, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate and followed the crowd to draw lots. 17. When this lot was drawn by Mo Qingyun, it immediately flew up and collided with a lot with the same number. Soon after, Mo Qingyun saw his opponent. It was a third seal symbol master disciple. When he saw that his opponent was Mo Qingyun, the disciple's face paled and revealed a depressed expression. "I forfeit." After revealing a depressed expression, the disciple very straightforwardly chose to admit defeat, unwilling to fight with Mo Qingyun. No one made fun of this disciple's actions. After all, the difference in cultivation between him and Mo Qingyun was just too great. Even if he forced himself to fight against Mo Qingyun, he would only end up humiliating himself in the end. Since he was going to lose anyway, There was no need for him to seek abuse. Mo Qingyun was slightly surprised to see his opponent admit defeat. However, he did not pay too much attention to it. For him, this was also good. He could save some trouble and relax. However, what happened next made Mo Qingyun not know whether to laugh or cry. Ever since the first disciple admitted defeat, his next opponents were all of them actually chose to admit defeat. Just like that, Mo Qingyun directly entered the top 20 without experiencing a single battle. Therefore, he only needed to go through one more battle to gain the right to enter Tibet. This result greatly surprised Mo Qingyun. It really went too smoothly. Seeing Mo Qingyun easily enter the top 20, Zhang Jie and the others revealed bitter smiles as a wave of depression rose in their hearts. Different people really have different lives. Everyone participated in the minor talisman battle the same way. It was extremely difficult for others to enter the top 100, yet Mo Qingyun directly entered the top 20 without even lifting a finger. Junior Brother Mo's matters really can't be judged with common sense. A trace of a bitter smile appeared on Zhang Jie's face as he sighed with emotion. He continued, "In the Mao Talisman sect, it seems that only Junior Marshal Brother Mo was able to enter the top 20 so easily in the Talisman Assembly." Su Shan laughed foolishly. "Those fellows are also tactful. Otherwise, they would definitely be ruthlessly thrashed if they fought Junior Brother Mo. Obtaining the top 10 in the minor talisman battle was the requirement to enter Tibet. Therefore, Mo Qingyun's next opponent was not like those people from before. They didn't retreat upon seeing their opponent. As soon as they saw Mo Qingyun's opponent, the expressions of some people who were familiar with him changed, and they started whispering in discussion. That's Shanglon. In this year's minor talisman battle, there's a chance for him to enter the top 3. Who would have thought that he would actually encounter Mo Qingyun? Shanglon is said to be the best at defense. The Diamond Protection Talisman he drew can easily withstand the attack of a 4th Seal Talisman. If that's the case, there's going to be a good show to watch. I wonder who will win between Shanglon and Mo Qingyun. Looking at the young man facing off against Mo Qingyun, the crowd revealed expressions of curiosity and anticipation. They wanted to see their battle. Shanglon was also a 5th Seal Talisman Master. However, his aura was much stronger than Shirtao's. He had probably already reached the peak of the 5th Seal intermediate stage. Mo Qingyun, I know that you're very strong. However, if you want me, Shanglon, to admit defeat, you'll have to show some real ability. In the battle arena, Shanglon revealed a cold expression as he spoke coldly and arrogantly to Mo Qingyun. Why bother? Hearing Shanglon's words, Mo Qingyun shook his head. There was an additional trace of sympathy in his eyes as he looked at Shanglon. If he wanted to defeat Shanglon, he would have to use the Rune Soldier Array. If he used the Rune Soldier Array to defeat Shanglon, it would be difficult for Shanglon not to be injured. However, this battle would determine his qualification to enter Tibet. He would not go easy on Shanglon because of this. As Mo Qingyun's words fell, his figure flashed and transformed into a ray of flowing light. He began to surround Shanglon and set up the Rune Soldier Array. What a fast speed! This is the complete mastery of the wind ultimacy. Seeing Mo Qingyun's speed, Shanglon's expression immediately changed. He did not expect Mo Qingyun to have comprehended the power of the ultimacy. At this moment, the elders in the elders' seating area all revealed looks of astonishment. The complete mastery of the wind ultimacy? Isn't this the cultivation method of the mortal path? How does this little guy know it? Could it be that this little guy also cultivated the Yuan power cultivation of the mortal path? That's too scary. This means that in the previous battle, this little guy did not use his full strength. The elders were all shocked. They had a new understanding of Mo Qingyun. While the elders were still in shock, Mo Qingyun had already surrounded Shanglon and continuously threw out Rune Soldier Array to set up the array. It's not that easy to use the Rune Soldier Array to attack me. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Shanglon understood his intentions. A trace of mockery flashed across his eyes as he said, Mo Qingyun, as long as I leave the area of your Rune Soldier array, I'll see how you're going to use the Rune Soldier array to deal with me. At this moment, in Xianglan's opinion, as long as he did not enter the area of the Rune Soldier array, no matter how strong Mo Qingyun's Rune Soldier array was, it would not be able to do anything to him. Do you think you can escape? Chapter 557. Immediately after, the seal soldier glowed and transformed into a long spear, charging towards Xianglan with an unstoppable force. Although Xianglan's cultivation had reached the level of a fifth seal symbol master, the strength of his body was not comparable to that of a heavenly soldier general. He did not dare to face a second seal soldier head-on. Seeing the second seal soldier charging towards him, Xianglan's expression changed, and he hurriedly retreated. Immediately after, Xianglan, who was preparing to escape from the seal soldier array, was immediately forced back into the seal soldier array. After controlling the seal soldier to force Xianglan back, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate and immediately threw out the seal soldier to continue setting up the array. Next, Mo Qingyun set up the seal soldier array while controlling the seal soldier to force Xianglan back, preventing him from leaving the seal soldier array. Seeing that he was forced back time and time again by Mo Qingyun and was unable to leave the seal soldier array, Xianglan was completely enraged. Mo Qingyun, you want to use a mere second seal soldier to keep me here? Dream on. In a fit of anger, Xianglan took out a green seal soldier and directly activated it and stuck it on his body. Vajra Protective Talisman. Once this green seal soldier was activated by Xianglan, it exploded with a blinding golden light and enveloped Xianglan within it. Immediately after, Xianglan was no longer as fearful of the second seal soldier that was attacking him as before and directly collided with the seal soldier. Bang! The seal soldier landed on Xianglan's body and immediately produced a dull sound. Then, the seal soldier on Xianglan's body trembled, but he did not seem to be injured at all. Seeing that the second seal soldier was unable to harm him, Xianglan revealed a pleased smile and said to Mo Qingyun, Mo Qingyun, now that I have the Vajra Protective Talisman, your second seal soldier will not be able to harm me. Let's see how you're going to keep me in the seal soldier array. After saying this, Xianglan forcefully endured another attack from the second seal soldier. His body was not injured at all, but the Vajra Protective Talisman's glow was slightly weaker. This seal soldier is indeed magical. There's actually a seal soldier that can increase one's defense. Seeing Xianglan's reaction, Mo Qingyun revealed a look of surprise. He smiled faintly and said, if that's the case, then using the seal soldier to stop you won't work. Looks like we have to change to another method. After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he furrowed his brows as he tried to think of a way to keep Xianglan in the seal soldier array. While Mo Qingyun was pondering, Xianglan had already begun to break through the formation. Seeing that Xianglan was preparing to break out of the formation, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate and immediately chased after Xianglan. Gravity suppression. Arriving in front of Xianglan, Mo Qingyun immediately unleashed his perfected Earth Profound, exerting a gravitational pressure on Xianglan and affecting his mobility. Under the pressure of the complete mastery of the Earth Profound meaning, Xianglan's body immediately turned sluggish, and his flying speed immediately decreased by tens of times. Complete Profound of Earth. Sensing the terrifying power on his body, Xianglan's expression changed drastically as he looked at Mo Qingyun in shock. Mo Qingyun actually knew another type of Profound of Earth. This was simply too shocking. However, at this moment, before Xianglan could react, he saw Mo Qingyun rushing towards him at an extremely fast speed, as though he wanted to clash head-on with him. Are you crazy? Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Xianglan immediately panicked and hurriedly shouted at Mo Qingyun, quick, stop, we're going to collide. Bang! However, before Xianglan could finish his sentence, he felt a terrifying power directly penetrate the guardian talisman and hit his body. This is the complete mastery of the gold profound. It can penetrate my guardian talisman. After sensing the power, Shanlan was immediately shocked. Mo Qingyun had actually comprehended 3 types of profound of earth. Puff! Under the impact of the gold profound of earth, Shanlan immediately felt the blood in his body churning. Then he spat out a mouthful of blood and his face turned pale. A symbol master focused on spiritual energy, and his physique was far inferior to a martial artist's. Naturally, Shanlan was unable to clash with Mo Qingyun. One should know that not only did Mo Qingyun cultivate body-tempering martial techniques, but the gold profound and earth profound also had the ability to protect one's body. With Shanlan's frail body, he naturally could not withstand Mo Qingyun's collision. If Mo Qingyun had not shown mercy, he would have been directly crippled. One should know that previously in the 100 Countries battlefield, Lei Hao from the Thunder Kingdom was directly crippled by Mo Qingyun's collision. Seeing this scene, everyone in the entire battlefield was shocked. What kind of attack was this? Barbaric charge? This was too violent. At this moment, everyone's hearts were filled with shock. They were truly shocked by Mo Qingyun's actions. After a short moment of silence, an uproar broke out in the battlefield. One by one, the disciples expressed their own thoughts. Damn, that's too domineering. Using his body to crash into someone. Luckily, Shanlan is not a girl. Could it be that Mo Qingyun likes this type and purposely pretended to be Shanlan? I wonder if he would like someone like me. Damn you. You better stay away from me. Don't sit beside me and scare me. If it's a girl, directly crashing into someone like that would probably be more exciting. In an instant, all kinds of rippling words came from the mouths of the surrounding disciples. At this moment, just as the surrounding disciples were saying rippling words, the elders in the elders' seating area could not help but speak out in excitement. This little guy is really capable of using any method in a fight. I, Old Wang, am impressed. I, Old Zhao, have never been impressed by anyone in all these years. Today, I am impressed by him. Even my neighbors, Old Wang and Old Zhao, are impressed. I, Old Zhang, have no choice but to be impressed. This little guy is really extraordinary. At this moment, all the elders were full of admiration. They were sincerely impressed by Mo Qingyun's fighting methods. Even if they racked their brains, they probably would not have thought of using their body to crash into someone as a means of attack. Of course, this was also related to their cultivation methods. After all, the physique of a symbol master was still too weak. At this moment, the crowd had complicated expressions as they sighed. Mo Qingyun continued to set up the array. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Shanlan immediately smiled bitterly and said to Mo Qingyun, Mo, junior brother Mo, I admit defeat. I'm impressed by you. Hearing Shanlan's words, Mo Qingyun was slightly stunned. He did not expect Shanlan to admit defeat. Seeing Mo Qingyun's shocked expression, Shanlan smiled bitterly and shook his head. My small body is about to fall apart after being hit by you just now. How can I fight with you? After complaining to Mo Qingyun, Shanlan did not hesitate any longer. He said bitterly to the elder in charge of judging the result, Elder, I admit defeat. As Shanlan admitted defeat, this meant that Mo Qingyun had successfully advanced to the top 10 of the Talisman Assembly. Chapter 558. Not long after Mo Qingyun's battle ended, the battles of the other 9 groups also came to an end one after another. Because of this, the top 10 candidates for this year's Talisman Assembly had finally been revealed. Because the reward for the Talisman Assembly was the right to enter Tibet, the top 10 were all given the same reward. Subsequently, there was no more competition for the top 10. In this way, the curtains to this year's Talisman Assembly had come to an end here. When the top 10 candidates for the Talisman Assembly had been revealed, an elder walked out from the elder seating area and waved towards Mo Qingyun and the others with a faint smile. You little fellows, come over to this old man's side. This old man will now distribute the identity tokens of Tibet to all of you." When they heard this, Mo Qingyun and the others didn't hesitate any longer and walked towards the elder in succession. When he saw Mo Qingyun and the others approaching, the elder took out 10 identity tokens and handed them over to Mo Qingyun and the others. When you enter Tibet in the future, you only need to show these identity tokens. After distributing the identity tokens to Mo Qingyun and the others, the elder's expression was solemn and respectful as he instructed Mo Qingyun and the others. "Thank you, elder." When Mo Qingyun and the others heard this, they cupped their hands towards the elder and thanked him. The elder nodded indifferently. Then, he turned his head to look at Mo Qingyun and smiled faintly. "Little fellow, you're very good. This old man, you're very good. Thank you for your praise, elder." When he heard the elder's words, Mo Qingyun revealed a faint smile and cupped his hands towards the elder in response. When he saw Mo Qingyun's actions, the elder nodded and turned his head to look at everyone. He said in a low voice, "Since the top 10 of this year's Talisman Assembly have been revealed, then this year's Talisman Assembly has come to an end." When they heard the elder's words, everyone on the battlefield left one after another. This disciple will take his leave. When he saw everyone leave the battlefield one after another, Mo Qingyun bid farewell to the elder and left with everyone. Not long after, Mo Qingyun saw Zhang Jie and the others waiting for him in the crowd. "Junior brother Mo, your performance just now was simply too shocking." Seeing Mo Qingyun approach, Zhang Jie's expression became slightly gloomy. He smiled bitterly at Mo Qingyun and said, "I'm afraid that even the current me might not be your match. Big brother, you can't even defeat Shanglon, so of course you're not a match for junior brother Mo." Hearing Zhang Jie's words, Zhang Wei rolled her eyes at him and said some words of disapproval. "Second sister, can't you give me some face?" Hearing Zhang Wei's words, Zhang Ling immediately showed a bitter smile, and his expression became even more depressed. "Huh?" Hearing Zhang Jie's words, Zhang Yun and the other woman immediately covered their mouths and laughed. Their voices were crisp and sweet. "Good disciple, you did well this time. You didn't embarrass me." When Mo Qingyun and the others were chatting, Elder Tan walked over with a proud smile and encouraged Mo Qingyun. He then said, "All right, you guys continue chatting. This old man will go back first." After saying that, Elder Tan didn't hesitate and turned to leave. Seeing Elder Tan's action, Mo Qingyun and the others shook their heads and smiled bitterly. This old man was really hasty when doing things. Retracting his gaze from Elder Tan, Mo Qingyun looked at Zhang Jie and asked, "Senior brother Zhang, can you bring me to Tibet?" Since he had obtained the identity token of Tibet, Mo Qingyun didn't want to delay any longer and planned to head to Tibet immediately. After all, the earlier he got the news of the undying spring water, the earlier he could find it. Then, he could refine the undying spring water and comprehend the esoteric of death, allowing his cultivation to break through to the Dan Palace realm. "I'll bring you there now." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zhang Jie didn't hesitate and led the way for Mo Qingyun. "All right." Seeing Zhang Jie leading the way, Mo Qingyun nodded his head and turned to Zhang Wei and the others. "Senior sister Zhang Wei, you guys go back first. I'll go to Tibet with senior brother Zhang." "All right." Zhang Wei and the others replied and returned to their own residence, separating from Mo Qingyun and Zhang Jie. After a while, under Zhang Jie's lead, Mo Qingyun arrived at the courtyard of Tibet. "Junior brother Mo, I don't have the identity token of Tibet, so I can't enter Tibet. I'm afraid I can only accompany you here." When they arrived at the courtyard of Tibet, Zhang Jie revealed an apologetic expression and said some awkward words to Mo Qingyun. "All right." Mo Qingyun nodded his head and said gratefully to Zhang Jie, "Thank you, senior brother Zhang. You're welcome. If that's the case, I'll go back first." Zhang Jie smiled faintly and waved his hand at Mo Qingyun before returning to his residence. Seeing that Zhang Jie had left, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate. He took out his identity token and walked into the courtyard of Tibet. The space of this small courtyard of Tibet was not big. It only covered an area of about 10 acres. Walking in, one could see the whole picture at a glance. After a simple glance at the small courtyard, Emo Qingyun found that there were a total of 3 treasures in this small courtyard, each containing different types of books. These 3 treasures were Talisman, Strange Door, and Strange Story. Talisman, as the name implied, was a collection of various books about talismans. As for Strange Door, the books collected inside should be about Qi Min Dunjia. The last strange story was the purpose of Emo Qingyun's trip. The books collected inside were all records of various strange stories passed down from the 7 great ancient roads. It seems I should go to this strange story. Emo Qingyun's lips curled into a faint smile as he walked towards the strange story. Compared to the other 2 treasures, the space inside the strange story was much smaller. Hence, the number of books was much smaller. After Emo Qingyun glanced at the inside of the strange story, he roughly estimated that the number of books in this strange story was about tens of thousands. Seeing this, Emo Qingyun did not hesitate any longer. He immediately started flipping through the books to find out more about the undying spring. Time passed bit by bit as Emo Qingyun flipped through the books. After a day, Emo Qingyun had already flipped through about 1/10 of the books in the strange story. However, what disappointed Emo Qingyun was that there was not a single description of the undying spring in these books. Helpless, Emo Qingyun could only continue flipping through the books to find out more about the undying spring. Ancient Treasures Compendium. At this time, another ancient book was in Emo Qingyun's hands, and he slowly flipped through it. After flipping through it, Emo Qingyun's expression immediately changed into one of shock and excitement. The Ancient World Crossing Stone could be used to set up an Ancient World Crossing Array to allow warriors to travel between different realms. The Ancient World Crossing Stone. There is actually such a thing. Looking at the description of the Ancient World Crossing Stone, Emo Qingyun's face was filled with excitement. He thought to himself, if I get this Ancient World Crossing Stone and set up the Ancient World Crossing Array, wouldn't I be able to return to the Tianhan continent? Chapter 559. Obtaining information about the Ancient World Crossing Stone is an unexpected gain. Learning about the existence of the Ancient World Crossing Array from the Compendium of Ancient Treasures gave Emo Qingyun hope of returning to the Tianhan continent. It's a pity that the Compendium of Ancient Treasures only describes the Ancient World Crossing Stone and doesn't mention where it can be found. Closing the Compendium of Ancient Treasures in his hands, Emo Qingyun looked a little disappointed and sighed inwardly. However, Emo Qingyun didn't mind too much. If the origin of the Ancient World Crossing Stone was written clearly in the Compendium of Ancient Treasures, then the Ancient World Crossing Stone wouldn't be called a treasure. Putting down the Compendium of Ancient Treasures, Emo Qingyun picked up another book and began to carefully flip through it. After learning about the Ancient World Crossing Stone, Emo Qingyun's state of mind became calmer as he flipped through the books. From his point of view, even if he couldn't find any information about the undying spring, it would be worth it if he could obtain some other useful information from these books. Following this, time passed bit by bit as Emo Qingyun tirelessly read the books. In the blink of an eye, 5 days had passed. Emo Qingyun, who had been flipping through the books, smiled again. After a few days of reading, he had finally found information about the undying spring. There is a cliff north of Tombstone Mountain. The cliff is 100 feet high, and at the bottom of the cliff is a spring called the Undying Spring. Drinking it can prolong one's life. For a moment, Emo Qingyun could hear the words that were spoken in a jerky manner. There really is the Undying Spring on Tombstone Mountain. Seeing the words in the book, Emo Qingyun's expression immediately changed. His face was filled with emotion. If he remembered correctly, when Shi Tao schemed against Zhang Jie and the others, he had told them that there was the Undying Spring on Tombstone Mountain. Who would have thought that there really was the Undying Spring on Tombstone Mountain? It just wasn't at the mass burial cliff. Now that he had found information about the Undying Spring, Emo Qingyun didn't hesitate any longer. He got up and walked out of the book. After a short while, Mo Qingyun arrived at the courtyard of the treasury. Junior brother Mo, you're finally out. Seeing Mo Qingyun come out of hiding, Zhang Wei and Li Jing's eyes were a little red, and they quickly came to him. Seeing the abnormal expressions of the two women, Mo Qingyun frowned and immediately asked, Senior sister Zhang Wei, Senior sister Li Jing, what happened? Junior brother Mo, something has happened to big brother, a junior brother Sushan. Quickly go and save them. Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Zhang Yun showed a worried expression and said to Mo Qingyun, the day before yesterday, Shi Tao's clan brother, Shi Tong, learned that you seriously injured Shi Tao and was preparing to take revenge on you. Later, he found us. Later on, Shi Tong found out that you were Elder Tan's disciple, so he swallowed his resentment. At this time, Li Jing added, Shi Tong didn't dare to take revenge on you, but he wasn't willing to swallow his resentment. Later on, we found out that Zhang Jie was the one who brought you into the Mao Fu sect. He vented his anger on Zhang Jie and Su Shan. Now, Zhang Jie and Su Shan have been captured by him. Where are they now? Bring me there immediately. Hearing that Zhang Jie and Su Shan were in trouble, Mo Qingyun asked Zhang Wei and prepared to go and save them immediately. I'll bring you there right now. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zhang Wei and Li Jing immediately led the way and brought Mo Qingyun to Shi Tao's residence. Soon, Mo Qingyun arrived outside Shi Tao's small courtyard under the guidance of the two women. Prepare more corrosive leeches for me. I want these two fellows to suffer a fate worse than death. As soon as Mo Qingyun arrived outside Shi Tao's courtyard, he heard a sinister voice. It was Shi Tao's roar. Immediately, Mo Qingyun quickened his steps and arrived in front of the courtyard in a few flashes. Bang! Under Mo Qingyun's foot, the small courtyard's door was directly kicked into pieces. Who is it? Seeing the small courtyard's door being kicked open, everyone in the courtyard was shocked and turned to look at the courtyard's entrance. Mo Qingyun, it's you. Seeing that the person who came was Mo Qingyun, Shi Tao's expression immediately became ferocious. His eyes were as wide as a cow's egg as he glared fiercely at Mo Qingyun. At this moment, while Shi Tao was glaring at Mo Qingyun saw Su Shan and Zhang Jie. His expression instantly turned cold. At this moment, Su Shan and Zhang Jie were hanging from a big tree. Their bodies were covered with hideous wounds and dripping with blood. More importantly, there were purplish-black leeches in those wounds. They were devouring their blood and corroding their bodies. It had to be said that Shi Tao's current appearance was really too miserable. Immediately after, Mo Qingyun revealed a ferocious expression and quickly walked towards Su Shan and Zhang Jie. When Shi Tao saw Mo Qingyun walking towards Su Shan and Zhang Jie, his expression darkened. He roared at the people beside him, "Don't just stand there. Capture that brat immediately. I will teach him a lesson later." Yes, junior brother Shi Tao. Hearing Shi Tao's words, the disciples quickly responded and walked toward Mo Qingyun with sneers on their faces. One of them said, "Brat, don't think that you can do whatever you want in the Thatched Talisman sect just because you curried favor with Elder Tan." That disciple sneered and said, "Let me tell you something. Junior brother Shi Tao's clan brother, senior brother Shi Tong, is one of the young sect masters of the Thatched Talisman sect. He holds the divine Peach Talisman token and has the authority to kill the disciples of the Thatched Talisman sect. Scram, otherwise you will die." Without waiting for that disciple to finish speaking, Mo Qingyun's gaze turned cold and an intense killing intent erupted from his body. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he took out 10 second seal soldiers and blasted them toward the Thatched Talisman sect's disciples. Second seal soldier? When they saw Mo Qingyun's attack, the disciples revealed mocking expressions. Each of them took out a green talisman and activated it to strengthen themselves. Diamond Protective Talisman. When he saw the disciples' actions, Mo Qingyun raised his eyebrows. He recognized the origin of those talismans. After activating the Diamond Protective Talisman, The disciples revealed a complacent expression and said, Emo Qingyun, senior brother Shirtong already predicted that you would come. In order to deal with your second seal soldier, he prepared the diamond protective talisman for us. Now that you don't have a talisman soldier, let's see what else you can do. But you have all forgotten that this isn't the talisman assembly battle. Mo Qingyun smiled coldly in response to their words. A scarlet halberd appeared in his hand. Slash! After taking out the blazing halberd, Mo Qingyun took a step forward and slashed a youth in front of him. When the halberd slashed out, a terrifying flame immediately erupted from the blazing halberd. It transformed into the shadow of an ancient dragon and swallowed that disciple. What a terrifying martial skill! When the disciples sensed the aura of the blazing halberd, their faces twitched and revealed a terrified expression. They had never imagined that Mo Qingyun would actually have such a technique. Pucci! At that moment, while the disciples were still in shock, one of them was directly pierced through by Mo Qingyun's halberd, instantly killing him. Mo Qingyun, you actually dared to kill someone in the sect. When they saw Mo Qingyun's actions, the expressions of the other disciples trembled. They unconsciously retreated and opened a path for Mo Qingyun. Chapter 560. When he saw that the disciples had retreated, Mo Qingyun quickly walked towards the duo and cut off the ropes that were holding them up. Junior brother Mo, many thanks. After being rescued by Mo Qingyun, Zhang Jie and Zhang Li revealed a sad smile and thanked Mo Qingyun. Senior brother Zhang Jie, you are too kind. When he heard Zhang Jie's words, Mo Qingyun revealed an apologetic expression and said in a deep voice, This matter arose because of me. Saving you is my duty. There is no need to thank me. After replying to Zhang Jie, Mo Qingyun's hand shook and a terrifying yuan power erupted from it, transforming into a yuan power storm. Under the influence of this yuan power storm, the corrosive leeches that were attached to the duo were instantly sucked into the yuan power storm. Senior sister Zhang Wei, senior sister Li Jing, the two of you take good care of senior brother Zhang Jie and Zhang Li. After removing the corrosive leeches from the duo's bodies, Mo Qingyun handed the duo over to Li Jing and Zhang Li. Following which, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold and indifferent as he turned to look at Shi Tao and the others. His eyes were filled with killing intent. Mo Qingyun, don't act recklessly. When he saw Mo Qingyun's cold expression, Shi Tao's face immediately twitched and he revealed a panicked expression as he said, My clan brother is the young sect master of the Mao Fu sect. He has the authority over the life and death of the sect's disciples. If you dare to touch me, don't blame my clan brother for not giving Elder Tan face. A mere young sect master is not enough to scare me. Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun disdainfully replied to Shi Tao's words. With an indifferent expression, he said, Don't mention that Shi Tong is just a young sect master. Even if he was the sect master, he still wouldn't be able to stop me if I wanted to kill you today. Oh, is that so? Just as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, a cold voice sounded from outside the small courtyard. Following which, Mo Qingyun saw a cold and arrogant youth wearing a black robe and a black crown walk into the small courtyard. Brother Shirtong, save me. As soon as he saw the black-robed young man walk in, Shi Tao quickly ran towards him with an excited expression. Don't worry. With me here, he doesn't have a right to touch you. Shirtong waved his hand at Shi Tao, indicating that he didn't need to worry. Then, with a look of disdain, he turned to look at Mo Qingyun and said disdainfully, You're Mo Qingyun, right? Even if you did well in the talisman battle, you still have to enter the Divine Peach Palace if you want to compete with me. Peach Shrine. Mo Qingyun frowned when he heard this, and a puzzled look appeared on his face. He then turned to look at Zhang Wei and the others. Zhang Wei's expression changed when she saw Mo Qingyun looking at them in confusion. She explained to Mo Qingyun, Junior brother Mo, the Divine Peach Hall is a place to nurture the successor to the sect master. If one is chosen to enter the Divine Peach Hall, They will be bestowed with the status of the young sect master of the Malfu sect and have the power to decide the life and death of ordinary disciples. So that's how it is. Mo Qingyun revealed a look of understanding when he heard Zhang Wei's explanation. He now had a better understanding of the young sect master's identity. He then asked, how many young sect masters are there in the Mao Fu sect now? There are a total of 9, and Shi Tong is ranked 3rd among the 9. His strength is extremely terrifying. Zhang Wei looked at Shi Tong in awe and said to Mo Qingyun in a deep voice. Shi Tong smiled proudly when he saw that Mo Qingyun knew his identity. He sneered, Mo Qingyun, now you know who I am? Do you regret offending me just now? Regret? Hearing Shi Tong's words, Mo Qingyun looked at him with disdain and said disdainfully, you're just one of the 9 great young sect masters. Moreover, you're trash ranked 3rd. What's there to be proud of? You. Shi Tong's face immediately darkened when he heard Mo Qingyun's mocking words. He angrily said, Mo Qingyun, since you're courting death, I'll fulfill your wish. As soon as Shi Tong finished speaking, he no longer hesitated and immediately attacked Mo Qingyun. Immediately, the aura on Shi Tong's body soared, and he emitted an aura that was comparable to a 6th seal symbol master. Junior brother Mo, hurry up and leave. Don't worry about us. A quasi-6 seal symbol master is not someone you can fight against. Zhang Ji and the others' expressions changed when they saw that Shi Tong was about to attack Mo Qingyun. They hurriedly urged Mo Qingyun to leave. You want to leave? No way. Shi Tong's face darkened even more when he heard Zhang Ji's words. He coldly replied. Mo Qingyun's expression remained indifferent when he saw Shi Tong's reaction. He said in a disdainful tone, look at you acting so awesome. So you're just a quasi-6 seal symbol master. I thought you were a 7th seal symbol master. You're courting death. When he saw that Mo Qingyun had once again mocked him, Shi Tong's expression turned even uglier. He lifted his hand and retrieved a blue-green symbol amulet and activated it in preparation to attack Mo Qingyun. However, at this moment, just as Shi Tong was about to attack, several terrifying auras approached Shi Tao's small courtyard. Mo Qingyun received the order. After these auras appeared, a cold voice was transmitted into everyone's ears. Subsequently, Mo Qingyun and the rest saw several figures arrive in the air above Shi Tao's small courtyard. Shi Tong greets the elders. Zhang Ji greets the elders. Mo Qingyun greets the elders. In a moment, Mo Qingyun and the rest in the small courtyard cupped their hands and bowed towards these figures. Rise. One of these figures waved indifferently at Mo Qingyun and the rest. He smiled faintly at Mo Qingyun and said, little fellow, you're Mo Qingyun, right? Yes, elder. Mo Qingyun's face was indifferent as he nodded at the former. Haha, not bad. After carefully sizing up Mo Qingyun, the elder nodded with a smile. Then his expression turned solemn as he said, Mo Qingyun, I have been instructed by the sect master to pass on the divine peachwood talisman token to confer upon you the title of the 10th young sect master of the Malfu sect. As soon as the elder finished speaking, he took out an orange-yellow wooden sword token and said to Mo Qingyun, Mo Qingyun, come forward and receive the token. That's the divine peachwood talisman token. Junior brother Mo has been conferred with the divine peachwood talisman token and is now the 10th young sect master. Zhang Ji and the rest were overjoyed and excited when they saw the divine peachwood talisman token in the elder's hand. In that case, Mo Qingyun's status in the Malfu sect was like a carp that had leaped over the dragon gate. Compared to the joy of Zhang Ji and the rest, the hearts of Shi Tao and the rest instantly sank to the bottom of the valley. Their faces turned ghastly pale, and an intense chill ran down their spines. When Mo Qingyun was still an ordinary disciple, he had dared to kill them without hesitation. Now that Mo Qingyun had been conferred with the divine peachwood talisman token, he would be even more unscrupulous if he wanted to kill them. This wasn't a good thing for them. Mo Qingyun has been conferred the title of Young Sect Master and conferred with the Divine Peach Wood Talisman token. No, impossible. He just joined the sect. How could he receive such treatment? It must be an illusion. This can't be real. At that moment, Shi Tao and the rest were panicking. A trace of despair flashed in their eyes. The Divine Peach Wood Talisman token has the power to kill. Chapter 561. Seeing Mo Qingyun's gaze, Shi Tao and the rest shuddered as they understood Mo Qingyun's intention. Mo Qingyun wanted to kill them. When they thought of this, Shi Tao and the rest shuddered as their faces turned pale. They did not dare to doubt Mo Qingyun's determination to kill them, because Mo Qingyun's attack just now was truly too decisive. Glancing at the terrified Shi Tao and the rest, Mo Qingyun ignored them and walked towards the elders. Then, Mo Qingyun took the Divine Peach Talisman from the elder's hand. Thank you, elders, for specially delivering this to Qingyun. Mo Qingyun thanked the elder as he took the Divine Peach Talisman from the elder. Haha, it's all right. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the elder waved his hand and chuckled. Little guy, cultivate well these days. I look forward to your performance in the talisman battle in half a year's time. Qingyun will definitely not disappoint elders' expectations. Mo Qingyun's expression was solemn as he replied to the elder with a resolute expression. Good. I'm very pleased that you have such thoughts. Seeing Mo Qingyun's attitude, the elder nodded with a smile and said, Since that's the case, this old man will reveal a little secret to you. The talisman battle in half a year's time is of great importance to the 10 young masters. During this period of time, you should make the best use of your time to improve your cultivation. Your current initial 5th seal cultivation is still a little too low. Oh, hearing the elder's words, Mo Qingyun's expression immediately changed. He asked curiously, Elder, can you give Qingyun some hints? You little guy, you're quite greedy. Then, I'll reveal a little more to you. Hearing Mo Qingyun's request, the elder was slightly stunned. He smiled faintly and said, If you can achieve good results in the talisman battle in half a year's time, the sect master will send you to participate in the 10,000 talisman immortal gathering. That will be a good opportunity for you to make a great leap. Thank you, elder. Hearing the elder's explanation, Mo Qingyun's expression immediately turned solemn. He cupped his hands and thanked the elder. Qingyun will always remember the elder's kindness today and will repay you heavily in the future. It's good that you have such a heart. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, the elder smiled and waved his hand at Mo Qingyun and said, In that case, we'll take our leave first. Qingyun respectfully sends elder off. Seeing the elders leave the hall, the elders sect masters and watched them leave. After a while, the elders' figures disappeared from Mo Qingyun's sight. Seeing the elders leave, Mo Qingyun sneered and turned to look at Shi Tao and the others. He smiled faintly and said, Shi Tao, it seems like even the heavens are not helping you. Now that I'm the 10th young sect master of the Mao Fu sect and hold the Divine Peach Talisman token, I have the power to decide your life and death. I like to see who can save you now. Clan brother, save me. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Shi Tao's face twitched, and he hurriedly begged Shi Tong for help. Mo Qingyun, don't think that you could do whatever you want just because you have the Divine Peach Talisman token. Shi Tong's face darkened when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. He said coldly, Don't forget that you're only the 10th young sect master. I'm the 3rd young sect master. It won't be long before you're even below the 10th young sect master. Mo Qingyun smiled disdainfully when he heard Shi Tong's words. He looked at Shi Tong with disdain and said, In my eyes, even if you're the 1st young sect master, you're no different from an ordinary disciple. Die, Shi Tao. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he took out the blazing halberd and charged towards Shi Tao. You're courting death. Shi Tao's face darkened when he saw Mo Qingyun's actions. He released the aura of a quasi-6th seal symbol master. Immediately, Shirtong took out a blue-green talisman and immediately activated it to attack Imo Qingyun. Junior brother Imo, be careful. Zhang Jie and the others were shocked when they saw Shirtong's actions. They hurriedly warned Imo Qingyun. Iron Bull, come out. Imo Qingyun did not hesitate when he saw Shirtong's actions. He immediately summoned Iron Bull from Heixian Hall. Stop him for me. After summoning Iron Bull from Heixian Hall, Imo Qingyun ordered him to deal with Shirtong. Yes, young lord. Iron Bull accepted the order and immediately released the aura of a heavenly Dipper Rel practitioner. He raised his hand and slapped down on Shirtong. Immediately, an aura comparable to a six-seal symbol master erupted from Iron Bull's palm and viciously crushed down on Shirtong. 6. An expert comparable to a six-seal symbol master. Shirtong and the rest immediately twitched when they sensed Iron Bull's aura. Their faces were filled with fear. They truly did not expect that there would be such an expert by Imo Qingyun's side. Bang! Following that, the crowd saw Tong Shi being sent flying by Tainyo's attack. Buffed. Shirtong immediately vomited blood after receiving Iron Bull's attack. His face turned deathly pale. Clan brother Shirtong. Shirtao's expression immediately trembled when he saw Shirtong's miserable state. His expression became even more terrified. Shirtong had actually been sent flying by someone and was seriously injured. Imo Qingyun did not relent in the face of Shirtao's panic. Instead, he coldly said, I said that even if the sect leader was here today, he would not be able to save your life. Hand over your life. As Imo Qingyun spoke, his body moved, and he chopped down with the scorching halberd at Shirtao. As Imo Qingyun swung the halberd, a terrifying aura immediately erupted from the scorching halberd. The power of a spiritual weapon was fully displayed. Bang! Shirtao was practically unable to resist Imo Qingyun's attack and was forcefully sent flying by Imo Qingyun. Poof! After receiving Imo Qingyun's attack, Shirtao immediately vomited blood and a terrifying wound appeared on his body. However, before Shirtao could recover, he saw Imo Qingyun chasing after him with the scorching halberd in hand. Imo Qingyun, don't kill me. When he saw Imo Qingyun attacking again, Shirtao's body immediately trembled and he hurriedly begged for mercy. Don't kill you. When Imo Qingyun heard this, he looked disdainfully at Shirtao and coldly said, I have already given you a chance. You are the one who did not fight for it. After Imo Qingyun finished speaking, he unhesitatingly chopped down with the scorching halberd. It directly pierced through Shirtao's chest and pierced through his body. Shirtao was killed in one blow. Imo Qingyun, when he saw that Imo Qingyun had killed Shirtao without hesitation, Shirtong's eyes were about to pop out of their sockets, and he immediately shouted at Imo Qingyun. Imo Qingyun chose to ignore Shirtong's words and coldly said, Shirtong, your identity as the third young sect leader is useless to me. If I can kill Shirtao today, I can kill you in the future. Imo Qingyun, just you wait. When he heard Imo Qingyun's threatening words, Shirtong was so angry that his face instantly twitched. He angrily said, Imo Qingyun, I will remember today's debt. In a talisman battle half a year later, I will definitely get my revenge. Let's go. After saying this, Shirtong led his followers and left Shirtao's residence. Let's go too. Chapter 562. Junior brother Imo, who is this? Zhang Jie and the others looked at Iron Bull in awe as they walked out of Shirtao's small courtyard. They hadn't expected that Imo Qingyun would be accompanied by an expert comparable to a six-seal great talisman master. They finally understood why Imo Qingyun dared to venture into Tombstone Mountain alone. Iron Bull's strength was comparable to a six-seal great talisman master. It was more than enough for Imo Qingyun to walk around Tombstone Mountain safely. This is my beast pet, Iron Bull. Imo Qingyun pointed at Iron Bull with a faint smile and introduced him to Zhang Jie and the others. Then he said to Iron Bull, Iron Bull, transform back to your original form. Yes, young lord. Iron Bull responded after hearing Mo Qingyun's words. It transformed into the golden horn sky-piercing bull and landed on Mo Qingyun's shoulder. Beast pet, golden horn, sky-piercing bull? Looking at Iron Bull on Mo Qingyun's shoulder, Zhang Jie and the others were shocked. They were truly shocked by this scene. At the same time, Zhang Jie and the others were even more convinced of Mo Qingyun's identity as a disciple of the ascetic cultivator. Junior brother Mo is indeed a disciple of the ascetic cultivator. Zhang Jie and the others sighed inwardly. They looked at Mo Qingyun with envy and said, "You have a beast pet comparable to a 6-seal Great Talisman Master when you're not even at the 5-seal Great Talisman Master level. No one in the Thatched Talisman faction can compare to you." After having Iron Bull transform into its beast form, Mo Qingyun looked at Zhang Jie and the others in front of him and said with a frown, "Senior brother Zhang, given Shi Tong's personality, he won't let this matter rest. To prevent him from taking revenge on you, you should stay with my master for the time being." Well, Zhang Jie and the others heard this and couldn't help but frown. They looked troubled and said, "Junior brother Mo, I'm afraid Elder Tan won't be happy if we all stay with him for the time being. You don't have to worry about this. When the time comes, I will tell Master." Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and waved his hand at Zhang Jie and the others, telling them not to think too much. "In that case, I'll have to trouble you. Junior brother Mo." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zhang Jie and the others relaxed and agreed to Mo Qingyun's arrangement. In their opinion, Mo Qingyun's consideration was correct. With Shi Tong's personality, he would definitely vent his anger on them. If Shi Tong wanted to take revenge on them, he would have to trouble Mo Qingyun again. He might as well trouble Mo Qingyun now. Following that, Mo Qingyun brought Zhang Jie and the others to Elder Tan's residence. Disciple Zhang Jie greets Elder Tan. Disciple Su Shan greets Elder Tan. Seeing Elder Tan in the small courtyard, Zhang Jie and the others revealed respectful expressions and bowed to Elder Tan. Seeing Zhang Jie and the others, Elder Tan frowned and revealed a trace of surprise. He asked, "You brats, why have you come to my place?" Seeing the confusion on Elder Tan's face, Mo Qingyun walked forward and explained, "Master, senior brother Zhang Jie and the others were injured because of me. I plan to let them stay here temporarily. You can't be thinking of chasing them away, right? Stay here temporarily?" Elder Tan's face darkened and a trace of displeasure flashed through his eyes. He was somewhat unwilling to let Zhang Jie and the others stay. Seeing Elder Tan's expression, Mo Qingyun continued, "Master, it's all thanks to senior brother Zhang Jie and the others that I was able to come to the Thatched Talisman sect. If you chase them away, you will be setting me up for injustice. I can only bear the blame and leave the Thatched Talisman sect." "Stinking brat, are you trying to scare me?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Elder Tan's face immediately darkened. He fiercely glared at Mo Qingyun and then admitted defeat. "Mother of asterisk her, although you know you're trying to scare me, I was really scared by you." Hearing this, Zhang Jie and the others were instantly speechless. "All right, bring these two brats in arrest. They always end up in such a miserable state." Elder Tan revealed an impatient expression and waved his hand at Mo Qingyun and the others, indicating for him to bring Zhang Jie and the others into rest. "Many thanks, Elder Tan." Seeing Elder Tan's actions, Zhang Jie and the others immediately revealed a grateful expression and bowed to Elder Tan in thanks. "No need to thank me. If you want to thank someone, thank this brat." Elder Tan waved his hand at Zhang Jie and pointed at Mo Qingyun. He said, "If it wasn't for this brat, do you think I would care about your lives?" Zhang Jie was instantly stunned and speechless. He didn't know how to respond. "Senior brother Zhang, let's go in." Seeing that Zhang Jie was at a loss for words, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly at them and helped them into an empty room in the small courtyard. After a while, after settling Zhang Jie and Su Shan, Mo Qingyun walked out of their room and asked Zhang Wei, "Senior sister Zhang, Is there any place in the Mao Fu sect that sells pill refinement ingredients? Pill refinement ingredients? Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zhang Wei was stunned at first. Then, she revealed an astonished expression and said, Junior brother Mo, you want to buy pill refinement ingredients? Don't tell me you want to. At this moment, Zhang Wei was truly frightened by her own thoughts. Her beautiful eyes widened as she looked at Mo Qingyun. Could it be that Mo Qingyun also knows how to refine pills? Mo Qingyun didn't think too much about Zhang Wei's shock and said with a solemn expression, Senior brother Zhang and senior brother Su are both seriously injured. Moreover, there is still a leech-corroding poison left in their bodies. Chapter 563. Who are you? Mo Qingyun's expression changed slightly when he realized that the other party knew who he was. His eyes flashed with a cold light. From the other party's tone, he could sense a trace of hostility. It seemed that the other party was here to cause trouble. If that was the case, there was no need for him to be courteous and talk nicely with the other party. Mo Qingyun didn't like to provoke others, but that didn't mean that he was afraid of them. Since the other party had come knocking on his door, there was no need for him to be courteous. You are indeed very arrogant. Sure Tong's words are true. Dan Qing's expression turned cold when he saw Mo Qingyun's attitude. His eyes flashed with a cold light as he looked at Mo Qingyun. He said coldly, It seems that there is indeed a need to teach you a lesson so that you will understand that as a newcomer of Divine Peach Palace, you should know the principle of seniority. So it was Sure Tong who ordered you to come. Hearing Dan Qing's words, Mo Qingyun understood why she had come, and his expression turned cold. It turned out that he had been bewitched by Sure Tong to cause trouble for him. Furthermore, from the other party's tone, he should be one of the 10 young sect masters. Mo Qingyun looked at the other party with a hint of mockery. Teach me the principle of seniority? Mo Qingyun narrowed his eyes and looked at Dan Qing with disdain. He said disdainfully, When Sure Tong ordered you to cause trouble for me, did he tell you that I killed his younger clan brother in front of him? Dan Qing immediately froze when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. He revealed a look of surprise. Mo Qingyun had killed Sure Tong's younger clan brother in front of him. Why hadn't Sure Tong told him about this? Mo Qingyun's mocking smile deepened when he saw Dan Qing's silence. He looked at Dan Qing with disdain and said, If you don't want to be used as a tool, I advise you to obediently scram back and ask Sure Tong about this. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Dan Qing's gaze towards Mo Qingyun became even more fearful. She began to hesitate in her heart. Seeing that Dan Qing was silent, a follower beside him showed a disdainful expression and said, Kid, don't talk nonsense here. You want to scare our 9th young master sect with just a few words? Dream on. When he heard the lackey's words, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold. Do you know that your 9th young master sect might lose their lives because of your words? Killing intent flashed in Mo Qingyun's eyes as he coldly replied to the lackey. He continued, Also, do you know that as the junior sect master of the Mao Fu sect, I have the power to kill ordinary disciples? Have you considered the consequences of speaking to me in such a manner? When Mo Qingyun said this, a wave of killing intent emanated from his body, causing the lackey to feel a chill run down his spine. When he sensed Mo Qingyun's killing intent, the lackey's body froze. Senior brother Dan, save me. When the lackey saw that Tai Nio was about to attack him, he immediately panicked and begged Dan Qing for help. However, before he could finish speaking, he was crushed into pieces by Tai Nio's hand. Oof. This person has no respect for his seniors and offended me. Everyone should have seen it clearly just now. When Mo Qingyun saw that Tai Nio had killed the lackey, he swept a cold gaze across the crowd. That's right. It was Liang Zhongyun who offended the 10th young sect master. He deserved to die. The 10th young sect master did a good job killing him. He should have been killed a long time ago. The 10th Young Sect Master has revived the Thatched Talisman Sect. The 10th Young Sect Master is mighty. In an instant, all sorts of flattering words came from the crowd. Mo Qingyun. Dan Qing's expression turned ugly when he saw Mo Qingyun's actions and the reactions of the crowd. Mo Qingyun looked at Dan Qing's expression with disdain and said coldly, Dan Qing, if I can kill one of your lackeys today, I can kill you in the future. I hope you will behave yourself in the future. After saying those cold words to Dan Qing, Mo Qingyun no longer paid any attention to him. He turned to the disciple who was selling the medicinal ingredients and said, Don't just stand there. Wrap up these medicinal ingredients for me. Mo Qingyun, let's ride a donkey and read a songbook. Just you wait. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, a smile immediately appeared on the counterstaff's face as he asked, May I know how many soul essence stones the 10th Young Sect Master wishes to exchange? 10 billion. Mo Qingyun's expression was calm, his tone indifferent. Patter. Following Mo Qingyun's words, the sound of items dropping could be heard in the junk hall. Silence. At this moment, the entire junk hall was silent as everyone looked at Mo Qingyun in shock. 10 billion soul essence stones. This was too frightening. 10th Young Master. So rich. I'm also a 5th Seal Symbol Master, but I don't even have 1,000,000 soul essence stones. The difference is too great. 10 billion soul essence stones. I'm afraid even the elders can't take it out. After a short period of silence, shocked voices could be heard from the junk hall. Gulp. The counterstaff swallowed his saliva and looked at Mo Qingyun in horror. 10th Young Master, are you sure you want to exchange for 10 billion soul essence stones? That's right. Mo Qingyun nodded with a solemn expression. But, seeing Mo Qingyun nod, the counterstaff bitterly said, 10th Young Master, I only have 6 billion soul essence stones here. Would you like to exchange for 6 billion soul essence stones first? The junk hall did not have enough soul essence stones. Hearing the counterstaff's words, everyone in the junk hall was shocked once again. If that was the case, then the amount of soul essence stones on Mo Qingyun's body was rich enough to rival a sect. As soon as this thought appeared in everyone's mind, they were immediately frightened and looked at Mo Qingyun with even more awe. Junior brother Mo is worthy of being an ascetic cultivator's disciple. This kind of wealth is really frightening. Zhang Wei was also shocked at this moment, her chest heaving up and down. She was frightened by Mo Qingyun's move. 6 billion? Mo Qingyun frowned and was silent for a moment. He said, although it's a little less, it can be used first. Let's exchange for 6 billion soul essence stones first. With that, Mo Qingyun threw a Chinquin bag containing 6 billion soul essence stones into the counter of the junk hall. 10th Young Sect Master, please wait a moment. Picking up the Chinquin bag that Mo Qingyun had thrown in, the counterstaff did not dare to hesitate and immediately exchanged for soul essence stones for Mo Qingyun. This counterstaff's efficiency with gems was quite high. Before long, a Chinquin bag containing 6 billion soul essence stones was handed to Mo Qingyun. Senior Sister Zhang Wei, let's go. After receiving the Chinquin bag from the counterstaff, Mo Qingyun did not want to stay any longer. He said a few words to Zhang Wei and then walked out of the junk hall. Oh. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zhang Wei was shocked and quickly followed behind Mo Qingyun. After a while, Mo Qingyun and Zhang Wei returned to Elder Tan's small courtyard. When Fong Peng and the others arrived at Mo Qingyun's residence, they no longer held back and spoke of the doubts in their hearts. In response to their doubts, Mo Qingyun smiled meaningfully and answered them one by one. Hearing Mo Qingyun's answer, the expressions of Fong Peng and the others became much more relaxed. Sect Master, elders, please rest assured. As long as the Mao Fu sect doesn't abandon me, Mo Qingyun will not let the Mao Fu sect down. At this moment, Mo Qingyun had a solemn expression as he promised Fong Peng and the others. Fong Peng and the rest relaxed when they heard Mo Qingyun's words. They were no longer worried that Mo Qingyun would deal with the Mao Fu sect. In that case, we will take our leave first. With Mo Qingyun's assurance, Fong Peng and the rest didn't want to stay any longer. They prepared to leave Mo Qingyun's residence. Qingyun, if you have any needs in the future, feel free to ask me. I will do my best to satisfy you. Before leaving, Fong Peng smiled faintly and said to Mo Qingyun, "Don't worry." "Thank you, Sect Master." Mo Qingyun thanked Fong Peng and said in a deep voice, "If I encounter any difficulties in the future, I will definitely seek your help." "Okay." Fong Peng made a sound of acknowledgement and led the group away. When Mo Qingyun saw Fong Peng and the rest leaving, his expression turned serious. He thought to himself, now that Zhang Jie and the rest have settled down and I have news about the Undying Spring, it's time for me to look for it. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.